Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of
hello.
Whiskey Knife Fight. Hope you guys are doing well. I am.
Wednesday. I'm wondering if us coming on the same time as our good friends is going to jam us up a little bit at the beginning of this.
Yeah, I didn't think about that starting on
Yeah, I didn't either.
Wednesdays at 8 p.m. But
the problem is, I know a lot of people that have podcasts and live streams and stuff. So, like, not conflicting with somebody is hard. There's only so many nights a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I have to show you something really quickly because show me. After our live stream on Friday, which if you guys missed out, we do these fun little live hangouts where we field more questions. After that, we talked about a Taint fan for a little bit. And then over in my Discord server, there's an EDC memes channel. And I just have to show you what somebody came up with. I don't know if you're ready for this.
Oh God, is this going to get us demonetized?
Somebody made this.
Very nice. Taylor, you got much skinnier legs than I thought you would.
Yeah, I wish my legs were skinnier. But yeah, this says, we all know the reason for that smile. Taint fan, get yours today.
Is that a chick's legs or is that a guy's legs?
I don't.
I feel like those legs look awfully girly. If that's a guy's legs, I can't tell. Hold on.
I don't know, but somebody also put my head on the old Art of Manliness logo.
That's actually awesome. I'm pretty sure those are chicks' legs.
What a joke.
If those aren't chicks' legs, that is definitely a slender dude that shaves his legs because I saw no hair.
Dude, I have the stockiest legs ever. That's definitely.
Dude, your legs look like tree trunks. I've seen them.
Dude, that was my nickname in high school. People call me tree trunks. Yeah.
You look like Groot from from Guardians of the Galaxy. You got some thickens.
Yeah. Or the Crudes, whatever the dad in the Crudes is.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So, what's on your wrist today? Looks a little different.
No, this is my old standard, man.
Well, it looks different from last week.
What was last week? I don't remember what I wore last
week.
On. Did I have the Oris on last week? This week is the let me see if I can block out my damn head. So is the good old Seiko 5, even though Taylor hates Seikos.
Okay, now I didn't say I hate Seiko. Just said I wasn't the biggest Seiko fan. I think they have some fine stuff. I will probably have a Sarb at some point. An Alpinist that I got rid of. But on my wrist, something new this week.
Woo. I still say it's your best watch. I don't care what you say.
The old Oris. I got the new Big Crown pointer date in Movember. It does have the mustache on the strap, which is a little weird.
I thought that was a mustache, and I was like, "Why is there?" And I thought, no, that's just one of those little like filigree things that just happens to look.
Happens to look like a mustache on the top and bottom because it's the Movember edition. So I'm currently waiting on another leather strap for
that. Reminds me of a meme I see every November for bearded guys. It says, "Oh, no shave November. You mean amateur beard month?"
So I finished up a video today. Speaking of that, I finished up a video today that I originally shot over a month ago. I think the day I shot it was July 21st. And I just kept pushing back, finishing up the video because it was kind of like a vlog style. And I finished it up today, finished shooting it at least. And I'm like, there's a giant continuity error with the size of my beard.
Well, see, I've had that problem with tattoos before. Like I'll shoot something, then get a new tattoo, and I'm like, oh shit. I don't have a tattoo in that one that I now have, which creates a bit of a continuity error or issue, but it happens, man. It happens. I think everybody knows that we don't always record all this shit all at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This one though, this is the longest I've gone between shots. A month, almost a month and a half. Well, 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's probably pushing about the longest I've ever done. I usually try to film stuff relatively close. I don't know that I ever necessarily shoot one part and then don't shoot another part for a long time, but I do have lots of stuff where I've shot it. I've got all the footage in the can, and then I might not get around to putting it into a video for a month. So it's actually a month old footage, but there's no different times of footage. All the footage in the video was shot within the same day or two.
Yeah, no, I ran into an issue where I had to stop filming one day, and then I didn't film the next day because I went out there and I was moving my trailer. I had to go do a lot of stuff, and I was more focused on getting it moved and getting back and shooting a different video than I was documenting the boring parts of moving a trailer. So
I've been getting a lot of flack for not doing any vlogs and stuff lately. I haven't really been doing a lot of like the vlog at home, type stuff. And I try to put those out there occasionally. I enjoy doing them, and it's fun and whatnot. But man, since the whole COVID thing, I haven't been doing anything. I've been working all the time. I work and I stay at home. So it's like when it wasn't this whole pandemic and I was going and doing things, you can find little fun things to vlog. But what am I going to vlog? Like me editing for 8 hours? Like that's not going to be a very good. That's not going to be a very good vlog. So
no, I totally feel with like can relate there. But I'm trying to do more stuff where like I work on my trailer, that's all kind of coming together. I have nowhere to do it right now. That's part of my problem. But
yeah,
let's go with the knife situation. I'm going to take just a guess. Is it different?
It's different today.
Oh, is it the one you showed me earlier?
Nope.
Oh, nice. Little copper microtech. Or is it brass?
It's a little copper. This actually was a knife I bought myself when I hit 100,000 subscribers.
Nice.
This was the most expensive knife I had bought at the time. I think I've bought more expensive since then. Maybe not. This still might be my most expensive knife.
It is. I mean, you don't have very many super expensive knives.
No, I don't. I usually stick at that like under like 200 and less price point generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I hit 100,000 subscribers, this was my gift to myself as a congratulation. It was a good old Microtech. And you can't go wrong with an Ultratech, man. I mean, it's just, it will irritate the shit out of people because your wife will hate you, right?
Oh, yeah.
They are fun. I don't carry it as often as I probably should, but I do enjoy it when I do carry it.
I have a new to me knife today, and it is the Peña Mula, which stands for mule in Spanish. And I think not stands for, it means mule in Spanish. And I think it's just meant to be kind of a workhorse knife. I love the way it looks. So,
dude, there will be no Peña ever that pisses me off as bad as the one you used to rub in my face on a regular basis. I love that.
Should I go get it?
Dude, I loved that knife so much. I don't know what it was about that knife. That knife just spoke to me on many levels.
And many more people.
Dude, it's such a cool knife. I love that knife. And it, I don't know. It was just one of those knives that struck a chord. I don't even know what it was about it.
Did you see the one he has coming out?
No, I don't really keep up with him a ton. Nothing against Peña. He makes some great stuff, but I just I don't keep up with knives the way that I should, honestly. I've been so busy lately, which we'll get into that because, well, that's part of what we're going to talk about tonight, but I've just been slammed.
Yeah, so here's the Apache.
See, he makes good looking stuff, man.
Yes, he does.
He just makes good look. Man, my nose is itching like crazy. I was bitching about it before we started this and it's still driving me nuts. That top one's my dude. That top one or the third one? Either one of those.
My Carta for sure. But the Apache, I'm hoping I can get my hands on one, but man, the drops always they're gone.
Well, that's what pissed me off about that knife, right? Is I loved it so much, but his knives are like impossible to get.
And then finally, what's in your glass? Because I got something new that I didn't tell you about.
Well, actually,
I told myself
what's in my glass right now. I don't have the bottle of it. I have my warm-up whiskey for tonight is 1910, Old Forester 1910. That's what's currently in the glass. But what I brought over to the table to drink during the podcast is a little Knob Creek 15.
Nice. I got something this week that I didn't tell you about, and I didn't ask you. Something? Yeah, I said last week I think that I was going to stop buying whiskeys for the show, just because I got like 6 bottles in 3 weeks,
and I'm going to stop buying cigars and whiskey and knives and.
Well, you need to buy some knives and learn
I'm going to stop buying things at Patina.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. You want to guess what I got for everybody? You want to guess what I picked up?
At least give me a hint. Is it Scotch or bourbon?
It's a bourbon.
Is it bourbon?
You're not gonna guess it.
I was gonna say, but earlier I was gonna say Old Forester 1910 because we had talked about that earlier. But that's not it. I'm gonna say, fuck, I don't know.
Actually, I did tell you.
Double oak. You're out of double oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, I was like, wait, he's out of double oaked. He's out of early double oak.
Yeah, Woodford Reserve double oaked. I ran out earlier this week, and I had to go get some more. I mean, it's just so good.
Nice.
Good old maple syrup.
Nice. I will say real quick something in the comments, and this is not answering a comment because I know we're not doing that, but your lovely partner brought this up. And I just think this is something we should mention in the beginning of every podcast for a little while. We're not ignoring the comments, but just to kind of keep the continuity and keep us on task, so to speak. We're not fielding comments until the comment section at the end. We may see them and we appreciate you guys talk amongst yourselves, but nice. Gotta say America. But if we do not respond to your comments during the first part of the podcast, do not think we're being rude or dismissive. We're just
I'm not, but Jeremy is.
But that's why we do the Friday night hangouts, because we'll do a little quick Q&A section at the end of every podcast, but the Friday night hangouts are for handling that the entire time. So just so people think, because your lovely partner had brought that up, so I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention.
Yeah, everything's shaky over here. I've got this shaky mic mount. If I lean forward on my desk, the whole desk shakes. Shakes. Yeah. I've got such a rickety setup.
I set up a whole rig the other day based on a guy that I watch on YouTube a lot, who I really I've learned a lot of stuff from him. Right? You ever watch DSLR Video Shooter?
No.
He's good, man. He's very knowledgeable about lighting, about camera equipment. He does a lot of camera reviews, a lot of lighting reviews, a lot of these things. He's a good dude. And he talked about making like a desk rig, right? So he actually did this cool thing where he used a computer monitor, like a clamp-on computer monitor arm.
Yeah.
And then he just bolted all kinds of arms and shit to it so you could have a dedicated desk setup for filming at a desk. So like he had a camera on there, he had a light, he had his microphone on a boom arm, like everything was attached to this monitor arm right at the desk. So then you could just basically sit down, everything was articulating so you could move it around to get the angle and stuff you needed and make it easy to shoot. So I set all that up because I actually had all the pieces around, right? So I set it all up. And then I sat down and I put my arms on the desk and the camera was like, I was like, damn it. It shook the whole camera all the time. So I think he probably had like a big, heavy, like normal desk he had his at. So like when he hit it, it didn't move. Mine's a standing desk though. So like it has a little bit of movement to it.
Right. So this is a standing desk. I'm just sitting. So it flexes forward. So if I just put a little weight on it, the whole thing shakes.
Right. And see, and I think his desk was a standard desk,
4-leg desk,
right? So it didn't move when he was filming at it, but when I did it on my standing desk, I just thought it was great because my standing desk is on wheels. So I thought, well, if I need to change my angle, everything's on the desk. All I gotta do is just move the whole damn desk, and the microphone, the light, everything just moves with it, which would make it super easy. But
I should build one on like almost like this little cart that I have for my whiskey here, but obviously bigger, like one of these carts I use to move stuff in and out of the office.
Right.
I've got a big metal one that I have over here. I have a monitor on it and a bunch of other gear, and I just push that around when I'm making a video. But having one with gear attached to it could be pretty neat.
The other one I set up was based on a video him and Josh Yo did, and they did it on a big rolling light stand, like one of the heavy duty stand. And that's what I'm filming on now, dude. And I love this thing because it's on wheels and it's got a one of those what did we talk about it earlier? What's that thing called? A magic arm? A magic arm?
Oh, friction arm.
Yeah, but what's the one called? The big one?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have the nice one.
But it's the big one for Manfrotto, and then there's several arms. One has my audio recorder, one has a big monitor on it, my light's on a boom arm, my mic's on a boom arm, so you can just enroll the thing around. It's really nice.
You can't really see it well, but I've got one tripod there and one there.
And one at the house. That has an arm that goes all the way. What was that long damn thing? My mic stand. So the counterweight on this thing is about 8 feet from me right now. I'm not even joking. I remember when you bought that, dude. It was like hilarious because you were showing me how long it was, and you literally had that thing like down the hallway. And you're like, look how long this thing is.
So this mic, I ordered it because it looked like a heavy duty mic stand, and it is, but because it was like 50 pounds or something, the shipping weight. But what I didn't realize when I bought it is that it extends to like, I think 11 feet tall, and it has, I think 11 to 12 foot range on the cross arm here. And it's fully articulating in all directions, and it's on wheels. This thing is amazing, but it's also huge and heavy. But it's funny we talk about this though, because this is where we are now, and this is not where we were even just a year or 2 years ago. We've come a long way and have a lot of crazy gear and stuff. And I asked for what we should talk about over on Instagram last night, and someone said kind of the difficulty of just going out on your own and fulfilling your dreams and working for yourself and stuff. And I thought that resonates really well with me. It's one of the reasons I enjoy doing podcasts like this, because we can get into these crazy, weird, obscure topics that are never going to make sense on my channel. Probably make a little sense on your channel, but it's something I'm very passionate about, and I really wanted to talk about it. So I hit up Jeremy, and he was like, "Oh, I'm the worst person ever to talk to about this."
Well, there's a couple of them I was like, no. One of them was work-life balance. I'm like, oh God, dude, I am the world's worst. I am not giving anybody advice with that because I work way too much. I mean, what we talked the other day, I think I took 2 days off in the last 65 days. So I'm not a good work-life balance kind of person, advice-wise.
Alex can attest to this more than anybody, probably my family as well. But for the last 8 years, we've been together for going on 6. But for the last 8 years, it's been just work. That's been my life is work. I wake up, I work, I go to bed. You know, and it's changed a lot in the last year because I now have a child. But man, it's just been work all the time. I've always sucked at work-life balance, and the one thing that I made sure I did is when Eleanor was born, I made sure to try and leave the office at the same time, roughly going on 7. I figured she was going to call me out on that, but I wasn't going to go back and correct myself.
I was waiting to. I was like, I better hope you're right on that date, bitch.
Yeah, it's been 7. Sorry. All right, going on. It is 6. I was technically correct, right? No, I was wrong. Anyway, I made it a point to leave the office around the same time every day, see Eleanor before she goes to bed. And a lot of the time I end up coming back to work. But the other big thing that I set myself to, and I've really not wavered on much since she was born, is not working weekends. It was tough. It was really tough to walk away and not work weekends, because I used to work every single Saturday, most Sundays for almost a decade. So
that's one of the things that I'm really working on instituting that I have not been able to do because I kind of overbooked myself over the last couple months to where I haven't been able to. But going forward with my schedule, I have removed some slots so that I can start giving myself at least a day, preferably 2 days a week, completely off, because I think you need it, man. It's not good for you.
Yeah, 2 things. You're going to burn out.
You're going to burn out and
burn out so fast. And then you're going to hate what you're doing, which is the complete opposite of the reason you're doing this. Right. Like, I've burned out multiple times since I started creating content. I mean, I used to work in tech, and I explained, I think on the live that we done on Friday, that I used to do 10 pieces of content every week. And that was down from the previous company. The one before that, I was doing 3 to 4 editorials a day. So I was doing editorials based on the news in tech every single day. I was doing 3 to 4,000 word editorials every single day. So I worked for that company for 2-3 years, and I had thousands of articles. And and then when I was doing videos for Pocket Now, I was doing several videos a week, like 5, 6. I think the highest I hit was 7 or 8 videos in 1 week. I don't even know how I did it. I do not know. I mean, I know that I didn't spend nearly as much time editing, and I don't know. I was a productivity machine, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't do it today. I struggle to get 2 videos out every week now.
Yeah, I struggle. Having 2 channels has really screwed me up a little bit, because not everybody follows me on both channels for some reason. I mean, I guess I know why. I guess some people aren't interested in the cigar side of things, so they don't watch that. My second channel is mostly cigar related stuff. But the problem is because they don't follow me on both channels, I'll upload to one channel and then I'll upload to the other channel. So then it's like a week and a half or 2 weeks before I get back around to uploading to the other channel. And they're like, man, you haven't uploaded anything in like 2 weeks. What the hell have you been doing? I'm like, well, I actually did upload. It was just on the other channel. So yeah, it's having two channels can make it a little more difficult, I feel like, because I would like to upload 2 a week, 1 to each channel every week, but it just doesn't always work out for me, unfortunately. It's usually
I'm zeroing in on a really good pace, and it sounds really stupid and counterintuitive, but this podcast is helping me get more done.
Yeah, that is stupid. I don't understand what you're saying. This is more work. I think I was talking to Chad, I think the other day, big idea. And I was joking around and I was like, yeah, you know, I haven't taken any days off in like a month and a half. And I've been overbooked lately and I've been really kind of booking more things than I physically have time to accomplish. And I'm like, so then what do I decide to do? Start a podcast with Taylor, because that's a great idea. You don't have enough free time. So start another project.
Great idea.
Great idea. But this is like a passion project thing, man. It's just for fun, right? It's not meant to be.
Right. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that we have to do as creators to enjoy ourselves again. Right. Mm-hmm. There's no pressure with this. There's not a lot of back end. There's not a lot of editing. It's just fun.
Just get on here and shoot the shit.
I mean, we talk all the time anyway. We might as well just broadcast our ridiculous conversations to the internet, because why not?
We do talk a little less now because of this, though. Well, we don't talk less.
Oh, there went Jeremy. Did my internet cut again? I don't know. It may have.
What happened? Did you freeze or something? Uh-oh.
There we go. Yeah, we're going to have some technical difficulties tonight, and I don't know if it's StreamYard or what, but it was cutting out before we went live.
Oh, I was like, because you froze. You were like...
You did too. So I think it's StreamYard. I don't
know. What I was saying is... we don't talk as much as we did before, because we talk plenty because we talk about the podcast and what we're doing. But it used to be a lot of these conversations, and now we'll be having a conversation. We'll be like, we should save this for the podcast. Let's not talk about this. Save it for the podcast. Because I mean, you know, might as well have it on here, right?
Yeah, but it's one of those it's one of those necessity things, right? So when you are so busy, you can't afford to not be working. That's why it's kind of counterintuitive, but like when I don't have anything to do, I don't do anything. Right? Like I just kind of get lazy, and I've done that a few weeks in the past 2 months. I've not had anything like pertinent. Like I do have things that I can be working on, but nothing that's pressing. No hard deadlines, and I'm just like, I got this. I'm okay. I can take a day and just focus on Discord and community stuff and work on back end things. And I waste a whole day not doing any of that stuff. But when I know that I have to be back here for this podcast at a certain time and everybody's waiting for it at a certain time, I get everything done earlier in the day, go home, I come back and I'm ready. And then it gives me a certain rigidity to my schedule, and it started to bleed over into other days. I'm like, well, Wednesday is booked up. That means Tuesday, I have to have this done. I have to get this done by this time on this day. It's just one of those necessity things where you have so much in your schedule, you don't have any options to not get stuff done fast.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons that I'm not saying I don't have enough to do, because I definitely do. Like,
no, for sure.
But it's one of those. I was in that situation where I was like, I need something that is just rigid every single week, always at the same time, no matter what.
Well, you know, it's funny. One, can I say this damn 1910? Dude, you got to get some 1910.
They don't have it anywhere. Oh, actually, I learned last night that there is an ABC store in Albemarle, which is 20, 30 minutes from here. And apparently they have a really good selection.
This 1910, if you like 1920, I think you'll really like it. It's a little lower proof. It's a little darker. It's a double barreled product. So it's one of those things where they age it and then they take it out of that barrel. I think alligator char a barrel, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe this isn't this one, the alligator char. I don't remember. They char a second barrel and is rebarreled in a second barreling for a little while. and it's dark and it's lovely. And man, it's good stuff. God damn, it's good. God damn.
Alligator char.
Alligator char is, I think, one of the highest levels of char, right? Like when they char a barrel for bourbon and maybe for Scotch too, but Scotch uses used barrel. So there are different levels of char, right? So there's like 1 through 4, I believe. And I think it even goes higher than that. And I think the highest one's alligator. It's like about as far as they can char it before the barrel just basically falls the fuck apart, right? Like it looks like alligator scales. It's so charred and cracked and messed up. And I'm pretty sure this is the one. I think this is the one they alligator char. I'm pretty sure. And it's interesting because the whole 1910 thing comes from back in 1910. There was an issue. They had a bunch of bourbon pulled out of the barrels in the big vat. They put it in to bottle it. And then there was I think a fire or something happened at the distillery or something happened. And then they couldn't get it bottled. So they didn't want the whiskey to ruin. So then they had to re-barrel it and came up with something like this. So this is like an homage to that. So they redid it a second time as kind of an homage to back in 1910 when that occurred. Anyway,
I think what I'm going to do, not for next week, probably not for the one after that, but maybe like October or something, I'll head down to South Carolina and expect to spend a few $100s and pick up some good bottles. Go check out the selection, FaceTime you, and just hit up that store and come home like a bandit.
Dude.
With my mask and everything.
This should for sure be one of them, dude. 1910. And some people like to blend 1910 and 1920. They call it 1915. See what they did there? So clever. So clever. But some people like to blend the 1910 and 1920 together. I think they're delicious by themselves. So I just drink them separately.
Well, but, I think this one it's definitely up there with one of my favorites. It's easy to find. It tastes good. It's not super expensive.
And that's why I'm saying, if you like that, I think you'll like this. Okay. They're both the same people, right? Okay. Old Forester and Woodford are not the same people, but they're owned by the same parent company, Brown-Forman, right? So they're both Brown-Forman products and they're both double barreled products. So if you like one, I think that you'll like the other.
It won't be the maple syrup bomb that this one is.
No, it's not as maple syrupy. This one's like darker. There's like little hints of like chocolate, tobacco. I even get like a little bit of tobacco and leather in this one sometimes, but like there's also a very deep sweetness to it. So don't think of like bitter, harsh flavors, but this is a much darker flavor than it is in double oak. But anyway, where I was going with that, and I went off the rails because I do, is it's funny. You were talking about how rigidity and schedules and deadlines help you. And it's funny because, we're talking about work-life balance and, all that stuff. And we were talking about the other day, I'm the opposite. When I get overbooked and I have too many deadlines staring me in the face, it shuts me down a little bit. Like I feel like, and not to sound like an over artistic bougie, I'm an artiste, whatever. But
twist your mustache as you say this, and it will completely like nobody will think that. Yeah, right. I was
actually thinking the other day I need to trim my mustache a little bit. It's starting to get like it's longer than my chin by quite a bit. So I feel like the Yosemite Sam's getting a little ridiculous. I'm not going to cut it, but I feel like I should maybe just trim the tips off a little bit. I feel like it's getting.
I'm thinking about shaving.
Oh geez, dude, you've done that several times, don't you? Look like you're like 4 when you shave.
That's true. I do.
But anyway, yeah, I feel the opposite that you do. I mean, I like I agree that scheduling and rigidity kind of helps you to a certain extent, but when I overextend myself and I book myself too full to where I feel like a certain level of stress motivates me, but then there's a breaking point where the stress stops being motivating and starts being restrictive because my creative curtains kind of come down and I'm just like, ugh. And then I feel just kind of creatively drained and I'm just like, oh, fuck it.
I think it was because my teeth were cut under pressure.
Right.
Like I would wake up and work from the time I woke up till I went to bed. And there was a deadline every single day for years, like 6-7 years. It was just constant deadlines every day that I was having to meet. It wasn't like, oh, I've got this big deadline that I have to meet by Friday and it's Monday. It's Monday and I have a deadline for Monday. It's Tuesday. I have a deadline for Tuesday. Every day. And
see, that kind of shit kind of wears on me though. That's what I'm saying. Like a certain amount, like knowing I have a couple projects in a month that have deadlines and I have to get them done keeps me motivated, keeps me on task. But when I start getting to where I have deadlines every single week that I have to meet to where like, if I miss one by a couple days, it sets my whole month back. it starts to kind of wear on me in the opposite. But it's funny. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to figure out what works best for you, right? Some people love pressure. Some people just thrive under pressure, and the pressure makes them create more and do better. Other people, it is like me, and it kind of drops a curtain down and you're kind of cut off. I'm kind of in the middle, right? Like I like a little bit, but too much, and I get a little like, but it's the work-life balance thing's important too, right? Like I think having, especially if you have a creative job of some nature. And I don't mean you're an artist or you're writing novels, but anything that has a creative aspect to it, right? That could be an editor. That could be somebody that does videos, a musician. 100 different things that maybe isn't, creating something like a symphony, but has a creative aspect to it. I think living life and having some free time and some life experiences feeds that. Right. And when all you do is work all the time, there's no fuel for that. And you get a little burnout.
Yeah. So for me, and what I was doing was very analytical reviews, and there was very little creativity to what I was doing other than the shots with the camera. And most of those shots were just the same one over and over with a new product in it. Right. So there wasn't a ton of creativity. There was just creation. And that wore me more than anything was the no creativity and just pumping out stuff. And that's kind of where I am right now with my channel. I'm not doing anything super creative other than coming up with different ideas. And it has a lot to do with the current situation with the office and being hot. And I don't do any B-roll anymore because I'm literally drenched. But for instance, Monday was the last day of August, the last day of the month for most YouTubers and creators, especially ones who work with brands, is always hectic.
Oh, it's hard. Last week is ridiculous. I try not to schedule anything else for the last week of the month because I'm always like chasing my fucking tail going, I missed this deadline. I've got to make up for this or do something. The last week is usually rough every month.
So just to give a little story of what happened and just kind of what's going on here. You guys know my air conditioning situation at the office has been pretty bad. I was going to come in and work on Sunday because I had to get a video done for Monday for a brand deal. And I woke up and I check the air conditioning or the temperature in the office when I wake up a lot of times, especially when I'm going to come in, just to keep an eye on it. If something goes haywire, I'd like to know in advance. And I woke up and it said the air conditioner was off and it was like 92 in here.
You text me. I was like, oh no, dude. Oh no.
So I came to the office immediately and it was throwing an error code on the screen. And I looked it up and it said coolant leak. And I'm like, oh, great. That's not like water is full or change the filter. It's a leak. I cannot fix this on my own. So I immediately just started looking for new air conditioners. And I spent most of Sunday looking for air conditioners. Lowe's didn't have any. Home Depot, Sears, Best Buy. Nobody had any portable air conditioners. Zero. Within 200 miles of my house.
Brutal.
So Alex actually was looking on Facebook Marketplace for me and found a used one of not quite as good as the other one I had. And I came in and installed it and hooked everything up, turned it on and left. And when while it was running and I was here, it took the temperature from 96 down to like 88. And I'm like, good, we're headed in the right direction. Great. I'll just somehow make it work on Monday. I'll just come get everything done. I'll let the office cool off overnight. So I go home, I take a shower because I'd been just drenched while I was getting that thing in here, and get out of the shower and I check the temperature again and it's 94.
Oh, God, so horrible.
Uh-oh.
I told you, man, I can't work at those temperatures. I see my AC broke. Remember back about a week or so ago when my upstairs AC went out and where my office and stuff is at? You can't work in 90 some degrees, bro. You've got to get that resolved. Like your freaking computer will overheat. Like trying to keep your computer cool while you're editing in 94 degree is just, it doesn't work, man.
The computer, the cameras, everything overheats.
Yeah. It's no good.
I turned around and came back, and the vent hose, which I had duct taped on, I was like, I don't want this thing to fall off. I attached as good as I could. It fell off because the air conditioner got so hot. So I taped the shit out of it again and left. And when I came back the next day, it was 80, which is still hot, but 80 is a lot better than 96.
80's warm, 80's not comfortable, but 80's tolerable. 90s isn't, because that's how hot it got upstairs at my house. And that couple days my AC went out and I had to get it fixed. And like, I wouldn't even come up here because within 5 minutes you were just literally sweating through your shirts.
Right.
I couldn't edit up here. My laptop, the fan was running full speed, trying to keep it cool the whole time.
That's why I wear black all of the time now, because if I wear a light colored shirt, like you just see sweat rings because I'm sweating most of the time when I'm sitting here. Like if I make a video, I'm always wearing black
because you can't see the sweat, man.
But
can't let people see you sweat, bro. You can't let them see you sweat.
I know. It's 80 in here right now, but 80 is tolerable if I've got this little fan pointing on me. Just a little bit of air moving across the skin, I'm fine. But no, it's just
hashtag taint fan.
Yeah,
a little bit of air moving across your taint. You're just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
The taint is the radiator to the body. Just if your taint is hot, your whole chassis is hot. You got to keep the taint cooled off.
That's exactly right. But going back to the necessity thing, like I had a hard deadline on Monday, and I normally take about 2 days to make a video now, just because I'm trying to be very, calculated with all of my decisions. And dude, I came in at I think about 9 a.m. and just hammered it out. I had everything done, all the sponsored posts. I had everything squared away by like 2:30. And then the brand didn't get back to me until the next day. I was a little miffed, just a little bit pissed.
Well, that's the other thing that I don't think, maybe we should explain. Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. Right. So I'm sure a lot of people are watching this going, what in the hell are these guys talking about? They work for themselves. What in the hell could be the possible problem here? It's not a problem. Okay. Let me just say this. No matter how much stress and how overworked I get or how many hours I work a week, there's the saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life or an hour in your life, or however that saying goes. And that's true.
Total bullshit.
No, it's true. It's true. It's not okay. It's true in one aspect. Okay. If you want to work 100 hours a week, or if you're mad because you work at a job and you're working 50, 60 hours a week and you think working for yourself is going to help you not work that much, you're very wrong. You will work more working for yourself than you ever working for somebody else by far, because you got to hustle to make that money, right? Like nobody's handing you, you don't have a paycheck coming. There's no time clock. It's not guaranteed. You don't have a paycheck coming. If you want to make money and you want to provide for your family, you got to hustle. So you definitely work way more when you work for yourself.
And that's not just true of like YouTubing. That's
just working for yourself.
Any kind of business.
Right. Yeah. That's I've done other things in the past and it was the same thing. Working for yourself in general, you work far more. However, I think where the saying comes from, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Even though I worked, like I said, almost 2 months with only 2 days off, I would still much rather be doing this any day of the week over what I used to do when I was punching a time clock working for somebody else.
Dude,
I was more miserable working a 40, 45 hour week working for somebody else than I am working 100-hour week for myself. Right. Yep. Like it's still much more fulfilling. It's way better. But to think that working for yourself is not more work would be an inaccurate statement, because I think working for yourself is more work.
It is absolutely more work. And the reason I say that it's bullshit that you'll never work a day in your life if you do what you love. Mm-hmm. The reason I say that is because while I do what I love, there are many aspects to doing what I love that I do not love. Like I love creating content.
Right.
I would say 90% of the time I hate editing.
I hate the rough edit. I hate the rough edit. I think
I hate editing right now because everything is a little formulaic for me. Right. Like I'm not out shooting the B-roll. I'm not traveling and having fun. I'm not doing anything creative. I'm just showing people things. And it's a very linear path.
Right.
From start to finish. And I want to be more creative with what I'm doing. And I've got some hurdles. I'm not making excuses. It's just the situation I have right now. It's the hand I've been dealt and I'm trying to figure it out. And it's not one of those things that you can just figure out overnight. Like if I want a new office, I'm looking at paying 4 times what I pay right now. and that's for a small space. So,
well, dude, that's why I still shoot out of my house.
Because
every
I don't
time
have that option.
I am jealous of having an office that I can set up. We've talked about this before, where I can set up sets and just leave them set up. So when I want to record, I can just sit down and record and not have to move crap around. But I'm not jealous of the money. Like, I'm not jealous of having to shell out that money every month. Like, my overhead is, other than equipment, but like my space overhead is zero.
And I don't have that option because I got kicked out of my home office when we were pregnant with Eleanor. Right. And then we have a little space at home that I could technically work, but now there's baby number 2 on the way. So that's not going to work. So
congrats on that again. We've said this before, but every time you mention it, I have to say congratulations, because kids are great, man. I love kids. I got 3 and I love them all. They'll drive me to like want to strangle them sometimes, but I mean, I wouldn't give it up for the world.
But I'm just trying to find my way, you know, to the next point, whichever that is, and that's going to be another inflection point. I mean, this whole path has been just kind of crazy, and that's originally what we were going to talk about tonight is working for yourself and pursuing that dream. Mm-hmm. And I actually want to start with a question for you. I mean, we're 41 minutes into it, but I want to ask you a question to start that conversation, and that's what made you want to do this?
I didn't like working for somebody else. I didn't like punching a time card. I didn't like working 50, 55 hours a week, making a paycheck, but feeling completely, and again, I'm going a little woo-woo, but feeling completely unfulfilled with the situation, right? Other than the fact it was paying the bills, I was providing for my family. So from a most basic standpoint, I was doing what I felt like I should be doing as a man, and that's providing for my family and doing those things. So other than fulfilling that, which is fulfilling to a certain extent in its own, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy what I did every day. And it felt like a grind. And I don't mean the grind like we do now, like you got to grind to make that money. I mean like a boring,
a slog.
Yeah, just like you get one life, man. You get one shot at this shit and then it's gone. Do you really want to? And most people work till they're 55, 60, you know? Do you want to spend 50? Well, you don't work for all 50 years because that mean you started working at 10, but do you want to spend 30 or 40 years of your short lifespan doing something you hate doing 50 hours a week? I don't, you know what I mean? Right. I wanted to do something that I enjoyed and fulfilled me on another level other than just sustaining my income so I could have a home.
A lot of mine came from the same exact place. Like, I never intended to do content creation. I was working retail and was offered a job in content creation, and I didn't even know that was a thing at the time. Right? I'm just like, oh, that's cool, I guess. And
God damn, dude, this Knob Creek cork, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Jesus Christ, this cork. Oh, God, see, it was so weak too. It's just like boop. But I mean, that fucking thing. Good Lord. Sorry. Go ahead. I apologize. I totally cut you off there.
But I never intended to do content creation, and it was very fun. But I learned, you know, about a year or two into it that I was being I was being taken advantage of. Right.
Right.
And once that clicked for me, all I wanted to do was work for myself. And what I mean by being taken advantage of is I got insight into what sort of money the company was making and what they would make for the work I was doing. And I was aware of my cut.
And you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. We're talking about like a deal that I would do. Like, a company would come to us and say, hey, we want to sponsor this. And at the time, the rate for that was like $6,000-$7,000. And they're like, thanks for doing this for us. We'll pay an extra $50 for that.
And you're like, I know how much you just made, bitch. What do you mean $50?
Right. But before I ever found out how much that was, I'm like, oh, another $50. Sweet. Cool.
Right.
And then once I found out what that deal was, I'm like, 50? Like,
like almost insulted. You're like, this is bullshit.
The deal wouldn't have happened.
I mean, you guys aren't even spitting on it. You're just sticking it in there dry. This is bullshit.
Yeah. They like, without me, the deal wouldn't have happened. And when that clicked for me, I'm just like, I mean, the money's good. I enjoy what I do. And I have to have a piece of that without the overhead. of running a massive company like this. Things have changed since then. Like I would like to have, honestly, several employees and have a real company, and that's another conversation for another time. But I also,
that's an interesting point we should touch on though, because me and you very much differ on that.
Yeah, but the big thing for me was also when we had, just for an example, we were doing phone reviews, and I was the new guy, obviously. So I had my moments. I had my moments of eating shit, right? So
you got to, man. You got to eat shit in the beginning. That's the way it goes.
And I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine eating shit as the new guy and just getting, the devices that nobody else wanted to review. But it went on for like 3-4 years, and I don't hold anything against any of my colleagues. It was just the way that everything kind of came together. I always was just kind of handed whatever because I was fast and efficient, and it didn't always work out the way I wanted. And I hated, I mean, there were just devices that I would have to review, and I'm like, I hate every single second of doing this. And I eventually just got fed up with it, and I tried my best to get out of tech because they ran me into the ground. And and I knew I wanted to do it myself.
And it's interesting. And I wanted to touch on this since, hold on, actually, let me just do this real quick too, because I'm about to pull the band off, and I never did mention what I'm smoking tonight. And I'm sure people are probably wondering. I'm about to pull the band off. So that's what I'm smoking. Little Alec Bradley Prensado, I think is what it's called. It's a little box press Maduro. I'm about to pull the band off, so I just wanted to show that real quick in case anybody was wondering. But the funny thing about that is, and this goes into something that I actually ran into this past week, right? So you're talking about, oh shit, I just moved my whole laptop. You're talking about, reviewing products you hated, right? And that's part of the reason you probably wanted to work for yourself, right? Because you want to review the things you want to review. You don't want somebody telling you what you got to review, which is an interesting aspect of what we do.
Right.
Okay. I had and what brought this up is I had a hater, Negative Nancy. He tried to pull it off like he wasn't being a hater.
It was me.
No. I always like it when people say some hateful shit. And then when you call them out on it, they're like, oh, well, I'm a fan, but now you can just kiss it. I'm like, well, if you were a fan, you wouldn't be calling me a hipster douchebag. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like some people that like me don't say that kind of shit. So go fuck yourself. But anyway, people, I think sometimes get a little weird about sponsored spots on ads and videos and stuff. And they're like, oh, you sell out, you're doing this. Or if you give a product a good review, they're like, oh, that's just because they're paying you, or blah, 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 blah. And while that is definitely a thing on YouTube, okay, there are for sure people out there, it's pay to play, right? Like they'll review anything for a price, and I'm sure they're out there. I don't personally know any YouTubers like that. All the people that I know that are in my circle of friends that I know on YouTube, the sponsors they take are sponsors that they enjoy working with because either they use the product themselves or they think it's something that is a good product for their base, the people. I've turned down so many offers because either I didn't like it or it was a hunk of shit, right? Yep. And that's the part where, before you were having to do stuff you didn't want to do. And that's the great thing about working for yourself is somebody contacts me and they say, hey, do you want to review this? I go, no, no. They're like, well, yeah, but we have a campaign going. This is the price for this. And I'm like, well, that's great, but I don't want to.
Well,
so you can just say no.
The icing on the cake for that is usually they're offering, a tenth of what your normal rate would be anyway. And they're trying to use that as like some sort of like plus or advantage of accepting the deal. And yeah, I've done the same thing. I will not accept a sponsored post by something else that I won't stand behind.
No.
Or if it doesn't make sense for the channel, like there was one that was sent to me and it was without getting too specific, it was a breakfast food and it was quite expensive and it tasted like cardboard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this this is not going to happen.
And so this it sounds like this has happened to you too. This has happened to me. Is somebody sent me a product, they asked me, and I said, okay, sure, sounds good. I will never agree to doing a video though. I'll always say, send it to me, and if it's good, I'll use it. If I like it, then maybe I'll make a video, but I never make any promises, right? Because
and that's the same thing with me. Like, I don't technically do reviews, and this has kind of become a little bit of a meme because everybody's like, that was a great review. And I'm like, I don't review things because I reviewed things for so long. Now I'm like, I like this thing and I wanted to show you about it or show it to you. And that's it. I show you the details. I give maybe a quick hot take, but it's not really a review. Right. I'm just it. And I've said this before on here. It's kind of like QVC for EDC. I hate saying that, but at the same time, like, I consider what I do as a discovery tool and not really reviews. If you want reviews, go watch Nick Shabazz or Jeremy, or there are plenty of people reviewing gear. I don't even consider.
Go ahead.
I move much too slow to review all the products.
I don't even consider mine reviews either, honestly, because normally, for the very same reason you say that. I mean, I guess on the loosest frame, yes, they're reviews, but generally, if I don't like it, I'm not going to do a video on it. Right. So it comes across kind of, to call it a review, comes across a little disingenuous at times because I'm not reviewing all the competitive options in that framework in order to be like, this is the best option, right? Like, I like it. So I'm using it more of as like, I think what you just said is a great thing. I use it like a discovery tool. It's like, I find something that I really like, that I enjoy. So I want to share that because I think other people might enjoy it also.
And totally blanked on where I was going with that. I had like the perfect transition and
I fucked you. See, blanked. Jeremy strikes again. Sorry.
No, it's just, if I don't ever really want to agree to something before I've got product in hand. I'm not going to say, yeah, I'll review your thing and then never have touched it and I get it in and it's junk. I'm not going to spend my time, which I don't have enough of to begin with, talking about a product that does not deserve any kind of airtime.
Right. So exactly.
That's one of the reasons I got stuck with so many product reviews back when I was doing tech, and they were all just trash and I didn't want to do it. So now if I don't think I'm going to like the product, I don't do it.
I had that happen. I think the last product that happened on that I just emailed them and said, I'm just not doing this, was a heated beard brush, right? They said, they emailed me and they're like, hey, you know, obviously, I mean, if you look at me, you know that I could potentially be interested in beard products, right? So they emailed me and were like, hey, we got this heated beard brush. Do you want to give it a try? And I'm like, you know what? I've seen these things. I'm curious. Sure. Send it to me. I can't promise you I'm going to review it, but if it's good, I will. Hot trash. And here's the problem, right? I've seen other people use similar products and I don't know if they're full of shit or if my beard's just so long, it wasn't the best beard for that product, right? Because I've seen people on social media use these things, man, and they put them in their beard and they run that beard brush through there and it's a heated beard brush and their beard's just like fucking straight as a board. It like,
did I need that? Mine's just like,
right. Dude, I ran it through mine. It didn't do shit. It didn't. And it heated up. It was ceramic. It had all the niceties. All the specs looked good, but it did nothing for my beard whatsoever. Nothing. It was hard to get through. It was like pulling fucking shit. I couldn't get it through. It didn't. And so I emailed them back. I'm like, look, I appreciate you sending, but I can't recommend this to people. They're like, oh, but you know, look at our Amazon. We have so many positive reviews. I'm like, then send it to one of those
Amazon
people.
reviews mean fuck all.
Because half of them are bought, right? But
well, I was like, not even just that. Like, you can have 5 totally different products listed under the same item on Amazon.
I noticed that. They do weird shit with that sometimes.
And a brand will put something on there, they'll get 1,000 reviews, and then they'll put a different product under that listing, and you read the reviews, and they're for something totally different. And you're just like, what? None of these reviews are legit at all.
Right.
So,
well, so I just, and I'm told them like, I can't, like, it may be a good product, but if I can't verify that it works well myself, I'm not going to say I like it based on what other people have said. I have to use it. I have to enjoy using it in order to recommend it.
I'm Same boat. And that was just one of the biggest things that made me want to step out and do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did I see several of my friends do it, and I'll be completely honest, a little jealous. I'm not necessarily jealous now, but aspire to recreate what they have, because I mean, they're crushing it. They're making really great moves, and frankly, I want some of the stuff they've got. And
well, dude, and
seeing that happen firsthand was a big motivator for me working for myself.
And let's be honest, it's stressful at times working for yourself.
It is.
And it's a lot of work. And anybody who thinks that, now this is getting specifically into the social media aspect of things for people that are interested in making social media a career, but it applies to a lot of different things, right? It's hard work and you got to hustle. And anybody that thinks it's an easy job doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. They've never tried. Yep. But it's a good gig, man. I'm not complaining. Like, anybody who ever hears me saying, oh, I'm working so much, don't ever think that that's like complaining, because it's not. I'm just stating facts, but I'm always extremely grateful and love it because it's a good gig, man. It's fun. I have a lot of fun doing it. Even at the worst times, like I said earlier, even at the worst, most stressed out, no days off in 2 months, it's still 10 times better than what I used to do.
Yeah, you know what agreed. I mean? And that was the thing. Like I've never felt just okay or satisfied working for somebody else. Never. No. Not from the first time I had a job. It was always just like, I don't want to do this, and I don't care if you're paying me to do it. I still don't want to do it. And there's a certain stubbornness to me that I know it's a little silly, but
stubborn, no.
But but it just never jived with me, and I knew pretty early on, from when I started working in general, just 16 years old, I knew that I was probably going to have to work for myself.
Yeah,
I have ideas, and like I had a job at Best Buy. I had ideas for things we should do, just never taken into consideration, and that irked me so much. Just we would do these stupid things because they were SOC or SOP, sorry, standard operating procedure. Like it was just what we did, and we did it because that's what the powers that be say we do, and there was no reason for it, or there were things that we could do that were way better, and it never made sense to me. So when I'd speak up and be like, hey, we should do it this way, it irked me. And that followed through in every job that I had after that. And I've had some great jobs. Like, I should not complain. I'm not complaining about any of the positions I've ever had, because I was lucky to get them, right? I was lucky to get the job with Phone Dog, then Pocket Now, and then I worked for CNET. I worked for myself for a short stint between Pocket Now and CNET. And I think that was what set it in stone for me, was that little period where I was in control and I could say no to things. And if I thought something was stupid, I could just scrap it.
Yep.
That right there was the only taste I needed to know that I didn't really want to work for anybody else. And now, I mean, given the opportunity, not an opportunity, if I were faced with a situation where I had to work for somebody else, I would absolutely 100% eat my shit, do what I had to do, but you better believe I would be burning the midnight oil trying to work for myself again.
Dude, I told you a story about why I started getting tattoos on my knuckles.
So, yeah, you did. Yeah.
When I worked for somebody else, the only tattoo I had on my hand was my wife's initial on my ring finger, because that's what I use as my wedding band. Right. I didn't have any of the other hand tattoos. I did have, also, I didn't fit in, right? I looked like this minus a few hand tattoos, right? Which isn't exactly friendly to most work environments, right? Unless you're working at like a tattoo place or a Harley dealership, they usually don't want you having a beard down to the middle of your chest and a bunch of tattoos. But
back when you were working for somebody else, I mean, it was,
1800s. So they were really against that kind of shit.
Tattoos were not really, accepted then. These days, I don't know,
they're still not, man. In a lot of areas, in some area, it depends on the area, right? Like a lot of technology based companies are a little more younger people and they're more accepting of that kind of stuff. But a lot of the other industries that have old school base, they really still have very old school values. And A lot of people looked at me. I worked at the railroad, man, which is a very old school kind of place. And even though it's fairly roughneck at certain aspects, it's still very old school. So a lot of people don't look at tattoos and stuff very.
Saying you worked on the railroad does not really make it sound like it was any closer to now.
Right. I'm just driving the nail in that coffin of like me being an old fuck, you know what I mean? Like
I was doing some maintenance on the old steam engine.
Yeah, back when where was I going with it? Oh, so the knuckles. So yeah, so as soon as I started working for myself and it started becoming a viable career, I started tattooing knuckles because I was like, I wanted to cement in, you can't go back, right? Like it was kind of my way of being like, you need to hustle and make this work because you're kind of sealing off your tomb, right? Like you can never go back to that environment because people aren't going to, plus I love tattoos. Obviously I wouldn't have just done it just to make a point. It's something I always wanted to do and didn't because I was in fear of that. But you know, that's a funny thing. And it's something I want to touch on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but something I think we should touch on is I'm sure a lot of people like wonder what made you make that leap, or
that was the question I was going to ask.
That was the question. What made you make that leap?
So what led you to YouTube? Because this is not the first time you've worked for yourself.
No. I was part owner of a gym for a while and did a few other things, but the YouTube thing was, I did it on the side when I was still working a normal 9-to-5 job, just as fun, right? I liked camera equipment. You know who got me into it? Who inspired me to start my YouTube career?
Me.
Bitch, you were like 8. Remember, I was born in 1950. So when I started my YouTube career, you were 9. No,
I would guess Peter, but I don't know.
Peter wasn't YouTubing yet.
Oh, that's true.
It was Casey Neistat. Yeah. I watched him and I was like, man, that looks so fun. Right. And I started as just fun. Like I didn't do it as a thing to make money. I did it and I just enjoyed the creative aspect of it, like, and the capturing your life aspect of it. Right. When I started doing YouTube, I was mainly doing vlogs, family stuff. I enjoyed the camera. I enjoyed the process of it. And I thought it would be a cool way to catalog and have something to look back at my kids when I got older and just cool stuff. My kids still like watching those early videos. To this day, I'll go in their room and they have an old vlog pulled up that they were in because they like watching themselves. And that's what I got started. And then it started to slowly make a little bit of money. And I was like, well, maybe this isn't the worst thing in the world. So I started putting a little more effort into it to try to make it a little more professional and a little, better, and kind of hone my skills a little bit, so to speak. And
see, you've not come that far though.
No, I mean, I still struggle a lot. I mean, fuck my color grades. One day I'm Donald Trump. The next day I'm like blue. The color grading still is the bane of my existence. Actually, I've got it figured out now. I think I told you the color checker, dude, saved my life, dude. That's the greatest thing ever. But in any event, the thing, and a lot of people say, how do you ever make that leap? Right. Because it's scary, because when you're going to working for yourself and you've always worked for somebody else, and when I made the leap and I started going full-time on YouTube, this was only like 3 years ago, maybe. I went full-time on YouTube 3 to 4 years ago. And I had a decently good paying job. Right. So it was super scary to go from, I know I'm getting a check every single month, to if something flops, you're not going to make your mortgage payment. That is a sketchy endeavor, to say the least. Right. It is super sketchy.
It definitely is. And that's why different situation, but that's why, for how long, 3, 6, 9 months, I don't know exactly how long, I would harass you every week with, what should I do about my channel?
Right.
And it's because, it's scary because I had a channel die. I had that happen, and it's terrifying. Just the thought that my entire family's livelihood is riding on this, dude. And if I screw up, I'm done. Like this. And a lot of the other scary part is that we're on YouTube and we're not in total control. This is not like a retail business where it's dependent on foot traffic and the quality of the items you're selling and the pricing and the location, and that it's not dependent on things that you are in control of, which you're not in total control of foot traffic, but
there's things you can do to influence that.
And there are things that you can do to fix it and kind of steer the ship, like pay for marketing, pay for advertising, get better products, like it's fairly cut and dry. It's not like black and white. It's not like sure success, but with this, you can do everything within your power. You can hone your skills. You can upgrade all your equipment. You can get a studio. You can do everything right and wake up one morning and it's gone.
Yep.
And that's unlikely, but I mean,
not really, dude. YouTube makes these fucking blanket changes sometimes that just devastate whole groups of creators, and they don't give a shit. They're like,
Leafy is here. You don't know who Leafy is here is because you don't watch or keep up with YouTube, but Leafy is here was a commentary channel. He would play video games and then talk about YouTube drama at the same time, and he used his millions of followers to go attack other creators and stuff, and he was allowed to exist on YouTube for years. And then all of a sudden YouTube changed their policy on bullying, and he was banned overnight. So this dude was probably making, if I were to guess, he was probably making $100,000 a month. I don't know, but boom, out of nowhere, no job, no nothing. He's fine. I'm sure he's fine. But at the same time, like, what do? You've been doing YouTube for 10 years and now you're banned.
Perfect example. All the gun channels out there and all the cigar channels out there. Now, the gun channels much more so because I think there weren't a ton of cigar channels that were making tons of money, right? Those guys were smaller creators, and I'm not knocking anybody, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, I'm a small creator. You're a small, like, to be big on YouTube, you got to be 1 million plus, right? So, and there's not a lot of those in the cigar space on YouTube. So, but still, it devastated a lot of people that were making an income doing it. They might not have been your Casey Neistats and stuff, but they were making an income, and then that income was gone. The gun community, even more so, because there were some multi-million subscriber channels doing
Emma Ranch is the biggest example.
Right. And YouTube just said, whack. And that's another reason why, if a lot of people don't understand why creators do ad deals and do stuff like that, is to take a little of that control, right? Yeah. Because if you have a bunch of sponsored people supporting your channel, then the YouTube income becomes a side thing. It's nice to have. It's not something you depend on, because it's super scary to depend on YouTube. A, it fluctuates like crazy depending on the month and what's going on. B, they make rules all the time that changes if you can even monetize your videos. Yeah. So you really need to diversify in order to have a little bit of stability, because having all your eggs in the YouTube basket is sketch.
Yeah. And that's, it's the situation I'm running into now. So obviously this studio has been great, but it's had some problems, right? Like, especially in the summer, I've been dealing with this crazy heat in here that I've not been able to fix. And I'm at a point where it doesn't make sense for me to pay $2,000-$3,000 to get it fixed when I'm going to be out of here in a couple of months. But I've got to make a very big decision. I've got to leap. Because my lease here is up in November, and every single thing I've looked at is 4 times the monthly price of this. And that's a big pill to swallow. That is a huge pill to swallow, because my income is not steady. I'm not on salary. I don't get the same amount every month. The money I make is not dependent upon how much I work. It is a completely independent number. I could put in 100 hours a week and make less this month, and I could work 20 hours a week for the next month and probably make double. I mean, we're getting closer to the holidays, and ad revenue goes up, things go up. It's just, that right there is the biggest thing for me. Everything fluctuates so much. It's really hard to know when is the right time to make this move. And I don't know. Well, I don't know the answer to it.
What's funny about that is, you were saying you could work 100 hours this week, and that whole thing. We've hit this before, right? Where you were like, Jeremy, you should put out more videos. You put out more videos. So I started like really trying to get, like, I was doing, I think, like 2 to 3 videos a week, and my viewership went down. I was like, what the hell's happening? I'm making more content and I'm getting less views and I'm getting less everything. And then I slowed back down because I couldn't sustain it anyway, honestly. And then it started going back up and I'm like, okay. So apparently if I make too many videos, people get tired of seeing my long bearded, ugly ass and they don't want to do.
You want to know the shit of it though?
What's that?
You can make one video a month and everything just kind of maintains.
Right.
If I go more than 1 week, like if it's 8 days without uploading a video, my shit tanks every time. If I go, I don't know. If I don't upload at least once a week, the bottom falls out.
Right. And that's the weird thing behind YouTube, right? But that goes back to it being, here's my advice to anybody that's listening or watching, right? If you have any aspiration to work for yourself, do it while you're young and you don't have a bunch of responsibilities, right?
Like kids and a mortgage, which I don't have a mortgage, but big truck payment.
And let me be clear. Yeah, you for sure. You did that yourself, bitch. But it's super nice. Hey, you got fucking cooled seats, right? But
just podcast from the truck.
But by no means do I mean that if you're not young, you can't do it. I did it in my late 30s with 3 kids and a mortgage and everything else. So I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it takes a much bigger set of cojones. That's a good bottle right there, dude. Dude, this, by the way, this bottle is getting better as it's opened up. It was good when I first bought it, but now that it's been open, it's down past the shoulder a little bit and it's been open for a few weeks. This cup, this little pour right here, I'm enjoying more than any one I've had thus far out of it. A lot of bottles, I found that to be the case, man. After you get past that shoulder and they've had a little time to open up, glorious. But let me finish my train of thought real quick.
Wait, actually,
go ahead.
To further that point, I think last week and on the live, I said that Hatazaki was not good. I changed my opinion.
After it opened up.
Yep, dude, it had some more and it's so much better now.
It so changes, man. That damn Old Forester 1910 I was just talking about. That bottle is good right off the rip. Okay, it's good. But after you get past the shoulder and it's had the time to open up and some air gets in that bottle, it goes from good to outstanding. I mean, it really, a lot of bottles change. It's crazy.
All right. So,
but
doing things when you're young.
Do it while you're young, man, because you know what? It does. Once you get older and you got that stuff over you, it takes another level of cojones in order to get it done. And
it does.
It's also a lot higher risk and the risk versus it's just scary, man. It's real scary.
There's another point that I don't think you're recognizing here.
What's that?
And if you're trying to do something deliberately, it may not happen overnight. This is something that requires a lot of dedication. So we talked about what got you started. I was obviously already in content creation. I had a following, I had a platform, and it still took a very, very long time for it to all come together. Most people think that I have a YouTube channel that's 2 years old and I just came up out of nowhere and the channel just took off and I went full time and it just all kind of fell into place. But what a lot of people don't realize is that this is my second channel. I worked for 5+ years, almost 6 years on the first channel, and it got to almost 100,000 subscribers after 6 years of work, and a YouTube change just tanked it. The YouTube change paired with me kind of flip-flopping on stuff that I had to do because it was a conflict of interest with my real job, like all of it just culminated. And with that one big last YouTube change, the adpocalypse of 2015, 2016, just tanked the channel. And I had spent thousands upon thousands of hours working on videos. I had almost 400 videos on that channel.
Well, that goes back to, what we were saying, dude. YouTube does these sweeping changes that hey, and I've said it in videos before, it's their platform. They absolutely have the right to do whatever in the hell they want. So I'm not talking shit about YouTube. They have given a lot of people the luxury of working for themselves and making a living. So I'm extremely grateful to YouTube. But
I also hate it.
Yeah, right. But I do have my gripes with the way they do things. I wish they wouldn't do things the way they did, because it does affect people's livelihoods. And I think they should consider that a little more when they're making these sweeping changes, that they're actually affecting people's lives. This isn't just
grandfather. What happened to the idea of grandfathering?
Right. What happened to that?
Like they're just like, oh, this has been okay for 10 years, but now it's not. So bye.
Right.
It's just yeah. Anyway, that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize with my channel. Like when I first got started, this channel kind of took off quickly. So what happened was I had worked on the other channel basically just moonlighting for 6 years. So I'd work for CNET by day, and by night and weekend, I was always working on the channel. And the harder I worked, the more I wanted it, the less the channel came together. Things just started falling apart. And Alex realized this. I was just too hell-bent on making it work to realize. And Alex came to me. I was in the middle of shooting a video. Alex came to me. I was outside in her backyard, and she said, you got to choose. Like, I never see you. I'm always just sitting inside bored, and you're always working, and it's not working. Like, it is not working out. You're not making money doing this, and you're putting all of your time and effort into it. You have to make a choice. Right. It's me or the channel. And
you can only do a passion project for so long, and it needs to be either make some money or cut it loose, or not spend all your time doing it, one or the other, right?
Yeah, and I needed that. I needed her to be like, look, it's not working. You're killing yourself over something that is just beating you down.
Hey man, there's something behind the saying, behind every great man is a great woman. There's something behind that saying, bro. There's something. My wife is my rock, man. There's definitely something to that.
She's more than a rock, man. She has to put up with a lot.
She's a fucking saint. I told you, if she could prove a couple miracles, they'd put her in for sainthood.
Alex is not far off from that. Let me tell you.
Anybody that deals with both of us, I guarantee you that's the case.
Yeah. But I basically begged her right then and there. I was like, look, I've put so much of my life into this for so long, and it's something I really, truly want. This is my dream. I want to do this. I said, give me 1 month. Mm-hmm. That's it. 1 month. If it doesn't work out, I'll walk away. And I was serious too.
That was a butt puckering comment right there, buddy. Woo! if it doesn't, just you're gonna walk away. That's a scary situation.
I was serious too. I would have walked away, and I never really thought about that until that moment. And it made me just kind of think about everything. So I went and sat down with some of my friends, and I said, what am I not seeing? What is it about this channel that has worked and what isn't working? Like, I have blinders. I'm too close to this. Just tell me what works. Mm-hmm. And they looked through all of my content, and they were basically like, everyday carry. I don't know how you don't see all of your popular videos. Every single popular video on your channel is everyday carry. Every single one of them.
You're like, so you should probably maybe focus on that shit.
And I'm like, wow, well, thanks for the input, guys. And I debated just pivoting the channel or starting fresh. And there's a lot to be said about just starting from scratch. And it was very tough to do. I mean, the channel had almost 100,000 subscribers. And I said, fuck it, and just abandoned it and started a new channel. And I think month 1, I had 20,000 subscribers. And some of those came from the old channel. Some of them did. But I mean, when I announced I was making a new channel, it was probably like 5,000 or 6,000 people subbed. But the videos I was making, I mean, I had 5,000, 6,000 subs, and the videos were getting like 20, 30, 40,000 views just right off the rip. And I'm like, wow, okay.
So I might be onto something here.
Like, this is kind of working. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Alex and I discussed a point at which I would consider going full time. Like, we discussed that because it was starting to look like it was actually going to work this time. I mean, when I was working on the other channel, when I say the harder I worked, the less the channel worked out. I had roughly 80,000, 85,000 subscribers before I walked away from it. Mm-hmm. I would upload a video. It would get like 1,200 views, and I would lose like 1,000 subscribers every time. And I was just like, okay, that didn't work.
You're like, I'm not getting political or anything on here. Why are so many people pissed off and leaving?
Yeah. So that was obviously very big difference going from 1,200 views and losing subs to uploading a video and it getting like 40,000 views in a week, from just organic. And so we started talking about what it would take for me to go full time, because I had a pretty good paying job with CNET. And I basically said, once I can offset what I'm making with CNET through this channel, I'll walk away from CNET, from my day job, and I'll just do this full time. And it took 3 months. 3 months from zero to full time.
That's fast, bro. Mine took a lot longer than that. It took a lot longer than that.
It was fast, and it was terrifying, because the day that I hit that number, I came home. I told Alex, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm quitting. I'm going to go full time. This is it. I need to put myself 100% into this. That's the only way it's ever going to work. So we were talking about it, and she's like, just come home. Just come home. I walk through the door, and I'm like, I'm doing it. And she hands me an envelope. And I open it up, and it's like a card with a pregnancy test in it. I'm like, oh shit!
You're like, oh no, pressure!
Oh my god,
the pressure!
Well, she was like, well, you got 9 months to figure it out. So,
well, it's funny. It goes back to that original thing we were talking about, right? And just to finish my thought is, do it while you're young and you don't have those pressures, right? To where if you need to invest the time for it to work, you have the time. If it fails, who gives a shit? Like, I said it in one of my videos I did. I think it was one where I talk about things I wish I knew in my 20s. And that's not being afraid to fail. Like, fortune favors the bold. That's like one of my favorite sayings. I forgot the Latin interpretation of it, but it's true, right? Like, don't be afraid to fail. Do what you love. Do what you want to do. And don't be afraid to fail, because you're never going to go anywhere if you don't try, right? If you don't give it the effort and try. Failure isn't a bad thing. Just learn from what you failed on, dust your shit off, get up and keep going. You know what I mean?
I've failed many, many times,
right?
Even in just the last 6 years.
But that being said, that is harder to do the older you get, because the fear of not providing for your family, your children, your house payments, all stuff, there is a certain amount of responsibility there that you can't just throw caution to the wind. Right. So a little bit of background on how I did it and how I was able to do it is, speaking of what you were talking about, it takes time. It does take time. It did not 3 months. And that shit. No,
It was scary.
It
was really scary.
It took years for me to get to where it was a reasonable income. I had started trying to build it while I still worked at the other job. It's very hard to do that. It's very hard to work another job and end up making YouTube a full-time thing, because you really need to put everything into it if you want to make it a career.
Yeah.
It can be done though. And that's how
I think what helped the rapid growth of what I was doing was the fact that I was really the only channel focusing solely on everyday carry.
Right.
And I came out swinging and talking about products that people didn't know existed. And I think it was just kind of a right time, right place sort of deal.
Right.
Like I was talking about Rovivon before anybody had. I've never, to this day, never, other than that video, uploaded something and searched the product and got 0 results on YouTube. When I uploaded that video, before I hit publish, I just wanted to see if anybody else had said anything about it. I searched Rovivon Aurora on YouTube, and there were 0 results.
You're like,
do you know how hard that is to do? So I was like, oh shit. Like, I found something, this thing's kind of cool. It had 3 Amazon reviews, and I put them on the map, and they put me on the map, really, unintentionally. I talked about them, and it just kind of all came together after that point. That was just one of those things that right time, right place, a lot of luck, and it worked. The funny thing is, and this is kind of unrelated, I woke up this morning to an email from a company called Rovivon, and they're like, hey, we've seen your channel and we really like what you're doing. Would you like to review our product? And I'm like,
you're like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I made you. I mean, obviously I didn't. They made a really cool product, but I mean, before I made that video, they had 0 presence on the internet.
Right.
So, I mean, it was crazy. Crazy.
So it goes back to that whole thing of, like you were saying, of you just got to kind of fucking pull that ripcord and do it, because you got to try. Right. Actually, you know what? I think I have I think I
Oh
have the
boy.
Latin. I think I have the Latin on here on my man card that I'm coming out with. Shameless plug.
Man card.
I think I have the fortune. I put fortune favors the bold on this. And I have the Latin. I'm not going to try to pronounce that online, but I have fortune favors the bold and the Latin version of that on here because I feel so strongly about that. You have to try. You have to do it. But going back to what I'm saying, when you're younger, it's easier to do. When you're older, it's tougher, and you kind of your responsibilities make it to where you have to kind of have a little bit of a safety net, right? Because you can't, when you got 3 kids and a wife looking at you, you can't just go, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. If it doesn't work out, screw everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I have a responsibility as a dad to provide for them, so like you have to kind of be a little careful.
Right.
But
and I would never in a million years recommend doing what I did.
Right.
It was a very lucky situation, and it just so happened to work out. And a lot of that had to do with me, one, having worked on YouTube for, at that point, like 6 years, and knowing the ins and outs, knowing how to monetize really well, and just working my ass off. I mean, before Eleanor was born, I was working, and Jeremy can attest to this, I was working morning to night, 5, 6, 7 days a week. Like 9 a.m. to 2 or 3 a.m. and then just going back at it the next day.
And that's part of it. First off, you got to be willing to fucking hustle, right?
Yeah.
I was as fortunate in a different way. What allowed me to do it in my advanced age and having kids and stuff, what allowed me to do it is I got very lucky also, right? At my job, they were doing layoffs, right? And I had been there long enough that they were offering year severance packages for people to volunteer, right? Because they were trying to get as many people out that wanted out so that they didn't have to lay off as many people. And I had been there long enough that I qualified to get a year salary. So I was like, man, I already had the YouTube. I'd already been kind of pecking away at the YouTube thing for a year or two, right? So I had a little bit of a subscriber base to where it was not near an income, but it was okay. And I thought, hey, if I have a full year of not having to worry about it, because I've got a paycheck coming in for the next year, if I've got a year to put everything I've got into this, I think I can make it work.
I got to say, that's pretty fucking lucky.
It was. So I went to my boss and I'm like, dude, put me on the list, please. So he put me on there. I took the severance package. I left a career after 15 years. I had a year. And even with that, I was still nervous as shit because at the end of that year, if it wouldn't have panned out, I still would have been sitting here with a mortgage, a wife, and 3 kids going, what the fuck am I going to do? Right. But it still gave me that little bit of safety net in that time. You know, you were talking about having any career, you're not going to be able to just jump into and be successful at right away. You're going to have to put in the work. Right. That
and one thing I've learned, the most valuable thing I've learned is that when you're not putting 100% of yourself into something, it's not going to flourish.
Right.
It's just not. I mean, that's what happened with the other channel is I was torn between that and my day job. And that's not to say that you can't moonlight and make a side project work. Not at all. What I mean by that is like my job dictated what I could and couldn't do on the channel. And that affected everything.
Right.
And the other thing is, let's say you have a 9-to-5 job, you work at a bank or you're in retail or anything. Doesn't matter. Whatever your job is. The difference for me that really affected me, I think, is that my day job was content creation. My moonlighting job was content creation.
Yeah. So the railroad versus content creation, which is 2 totally fucking different things.
Yes. And I think that it didn't really burn me out, but I think it really affected my ability to put myself into making videos for myself because I was writing and making videos by day and making videos by night. And I was just creatively just empty.
Right.
And I've been there for a while. Like one thing I really want to focus on this year and next year is creativity. Just putting that creative work back into what I do. I obviously want to keep doing these formulaic videos because I enjoy them and they're easier, but I want to start mixing in some bigger ideas, bigger projects, traveling. Just I want to do more than just this. This is my bread and butter. This is something I can always come back to on a rainy day. I can always make these videos, and I don't mind them, but I also want to take it up a notch. And that's something that goes hand in hand with a better suited studio. So that's playing into this bigger space that I'm looking at, and I can't pull the trigger yet. I'm a little nervous. I've made a lot of crazy decisions.
It goes along with all this other shit we're talking about.
Yeah, it does.
Like, for every stage of working for yourself, when you're working for yourself and somebody else isn't paying the bills, you're paying the bills, and it's your responsibility to get all the income. Anything you do is a bit of a leap of faith, right? Like
you come up on a bunch of glass ceilings is what it is. When you work for yourself, you got to break through them. You've
got to have the grit and the balls to get through it, right?
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of courage, a little bit of like, okay, fuck it. Like I'm going to do it, you know, and some hard work and determination, right?
And a Taint fan doesn't hurt along the way.
Taint fan, you know, we really got to like, I don't know, maybe get some kind of patented trademark situation for a Taint fan. Like I
feel like that could be a really good carry commission product.
The whiskey knife fight Taint fan.
I'm down.
I think you get to own that one though. I think that just needs to be a carry commission because honestly, you're the Taint fan guy, not me. I don't have a Taint fan.
I will give you one for your truck though.
I do. I need one for my truck. Because like we said, the taint is the radiator of the body, and I get hot in my truck because the AC is broken. That needs to be a thing too. Can we make a shirt? Your taint is the radiator of the. Maybe that wouldn't be a good shirt.
That would not be a good shirt. Maybe a good morale patch.
Maybe just have like a radiator on someone's taint. Have a graphical image of that. That would be hard. That would be hard to wear out in public. I would assume you might get in trouble with that.
Maybe. I don't know.
I have shirts that say shit in huge letters on them.
That's true. I've got my use your shit shirt. All my shirts say best damn EDC.
Yeah.
Which people are a little weird about, but yeah, it's definitely tough to make those leaps to break through the glass ceiling at different points. I mean, I've had to do it several times. I had to do it moving into my other office, which was not very expensive, but I had to do it moving into this studio, which was a bit of a jump up. And then now, I mean, I'm faced with renew here for a year and deal with this, which is I have decided if I do renew here, I'm just going to pay the money to get a split unit installed. If I renew for a full year, it makes sense, but for the next 3 months, it doesn't make sense because it's going to start cooling off. And
that's I mean, obviously, you know, whatever. My opinion, just based on all the talks me and you have on the constant basis, either get a different spot or get an AC because it fucks with your productivity and your workflow to be dealing with that heat on a constant basis.
Now, I will say that for podcasting and video production and everything, this space has been great. Just audio wise, like the acoustics here are so good.
It's a great space. I mean, I think it's a cool, and like people probably don't know where you're at. I'm not going to dime out your exact location, but you've got like a whole like industrial situation right outside you that is great for photography and like a little quick B-roll or something. Cause there's so many cool textures and backgrounds and stuff where you're at that it could be really cool. It's just the fucking heat is a situation.
And there are breweries here. There are a lot of different businesses here. They're about to put in a food hall. Like this spot is cool. This spot is really neat.
You don't have neighbors banging around, making it your old spot. You had people above you that would make noise and fuck you up from filming because
plaster falling on my head when I'm shooting a video. Like,
so the only problem with that spot is the temperature situation. Everything else is great. It's not far from your place.
There are content ideas that I have that don't work in here. So, I mean, just to kind of shed some light on that, I have a trailer, a camping trailer. So not the RV trailer. I have a 1976 Avion Legrand, which is kind of like a better Airstream. And that thing is a total gut job. It needs to be renovated. But I have an off-road trailer, which was built on an M416 military trailer. And I want to rebuild that. And that's sort of the thing I want to do with my other channel. Obviously, I'm not going to do rebuilds. I want to do a lot of different stuff with that channel.
Sorry. Mics, dude, they grab your mustache and your beard, and I'll like go and a hair will get stuck, then I'll go to pull away and I'm like, Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was getting tortured for a second there.
Yeah, no, it happens to me a lot. I've learned to like keep my distance, but
yeah,
the trailer, I want to rebuild that. I want to do a lot of different things on that channel, and I need space to work on that. This is a second floor. It's carpeted, so it's good for one thing, but working on stuff and welding and using angle grinders and stuff, that's not going to work in this space. So
I feel like a spot like that though, man, is going to be so expensive because you got to get such a big spot to do something like, well, and plus a spot
I found
like
two,
that,
and both of them
like generally isn't going to be also
good for this,
for filming, right? So like you can either get a cheap spot that's nice for working on vehicles and stuff, or you can get a cheap spot, not cheap, but less expensive place for filming. But a place like Peter's would be perfect, right? He's got a nice AC spot that's good for filming, and then he's got like that little warehouse area in the back with a cargo door. But fuck, man, who knows how much a joint like that would cost?
So I found one,
and it was expensive as shit.
Yes and no. It's more than what I pay for my house, but it's less than what the average house rents for here.
That's still a lot of money. And see, it goes back to that, and it goes back to that, like having the balls to do it, right? Like that's why I still shoot out of my house, because I've had businesses, like I said, I had other businesses. I was a part owner of a gym for a while. Overhead in a business, that's another little fucking tidbit that if I gave anybody watching or listening, if you're starting something on your own, try to keep your expenses, your overhead as low as possible, because when you get a high overhead, that means you got to make that much money every month to break even. And when you're first starting off, that is a son of a bitch.
Yeah. So I'll
pin yourself down with overhead, man. Keep your overhead as low as you can, so that every bit of money you make goes in your pocket, not paying out a bunch of shit, which is why I haven't done what you're talking about, man. Because I don't want this. I don't have any overhead right now. I mean, I have overhead with buying camera equipment and stuff like that, which, by the way, in this fucking job can get crazy expensive because all this shit is not cheap. But I don't have monthly bills that I have to pay. Right.
Right. The only one I really have is my internet for this studio and this studio. The studio is very affordable.
Right.
If I were to get the next space that I'm looking at, which I don't even know if it's still available, I looked at it this weekend. It's perfect, man. It's got 2 offices, 2 bathrooms. It's got a shower, and then it has a shop. It's got a warehouse space.
But does it have a Taint fan?
I will install a Taint fan.
Okay. But
if I were to get that, it would increase my expenses by like $1,200 to $1,400 every month. That hurts.
That's $1,200 to $1,400 not in your pocket every month. Now I know.
Exactly.
Here's the thing: there are business guys out there that would say, "Yeah, but for that $1,200 to $1,400, you can do this extra content. You could do these extra things that might make you an extra $3,000 a month."
Right.
But that's right?
Could.
The definite
in my mind
is $1,400 a month. That's a fucking for sure thing.
Yes.
The money it could make you is not a for sure thing, which is why I say when you're starting off, keep that overhead.
Yeah, and I'm getting to the point now where I can consider something like that. It's not something I want to do. I don't want that extra expense every month, but I'm getting to one of those glass ceilings where with some of the stuff I want to do, and I'm not just talking about rebuilding a trailer, full disclosure, I'm talking about maybe even going through the process of making my own EDC gear on video. I'm going to need a space like that. And if I rented a house, if I could buy a house. So long story short, I've tried. I cannot buy a house right now. I'm in the process of trying, but it's unlikely that it's going to happen. That's another really big downside to being a business owner or self-employed.
But either you pay the tax man a whole lot, or you don't show a lot of. You have a lot of write-offs that end up showing that your net income isn't that high, so it keeps you good with the tax man, but then it doesn't look good when you're applying for loans. You show that you make a bunch of money on paper, it looks good with the banks, but then your taxes are going to be high as shit. So it's a double-edged sword.
So it's so frustrating because I'll just be pretty candid about this. If I get, say, that studio and we get a house that we need, like size-wise for the growing family, we're looking at like over $3,600 a month in rent. Whereas if we had a mortgage and I put a building out back, that building would be paid off in a year. And the mortgage would be, I don't know, like 900, 1200, 1500, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter what it would be. It would be significantly less, like a third less than what I would have to pay if I'm just renting 2 spaces. So it's so frustrating because I do make enough to buy a house, but that doesn't matter.
Well, and another thing about owning your place is that you're paying yourself. Rent, you're just throwing money out the window, right? Or when you own, whether it's for a business, if you buy the building for a business, or whether it's your home or whatever, you're paying yourself back, right? Which is a very different. You're building equity every month rather than just throwing it right out the window,
right? And that's sort of the thing. Like all I want in the world right now is to be able to buy a house and put my own studio out back. Like buy a place with a couple of acres and have a 3,000 square foot shop out back. And the thing is, if I were to rent something that size, it's going to be $2,000, $3,000 a month for a standalone building like that. If I put one in my backyard at the house that I own, it's going to be maybe $20,000 to have it built. Even if I get a prefab one, that's an option. Get a prefab and finish it on the inside with some sheetrock and some lighting and electrical and plumbing. That is going to be like $20,000, but it's paid off. And once it's paid off, you're not paying that out to anybody else. It's something that I'm really having a hard time maneuvering. It's a situation that's just been weighing on me a lot lately, and I'm trying to not let it bother me. I'm still just kind of going through the motions and getting work done, but it's a situation, and it is one of those things. The reason I'm talking about this so openly is because this is just one of those things that eventually, as a business owner or even just a YouTuber, a lowly YouTuber, it's one of those things that eventually you're going to have to think about, especially like if you want an editor. Like, do you want somebody coming into your house and editing videos at your house every day? Or do you want a space and have somewhere for them to go? And
it's just subject for a different video, right? But like, we have very different opinions on the editor situation, right? Like, to me, such a big part of my creative process is how I do the edit. So like, I'm kind of anti-editor, but I do see the productivity gains of it, right? But anyway, that's a whole nother podcast, man. That's a whole.
What I want more than an editor is someone to work with.
By the way, it's not to cut you off, but we should wrap it up in about the next 2 minutes so we can spend 15 or 20 doing comments and stuff, because we're coming up on 2 hours.
But one thing that I really want is someone to work with. So for the last 10 years, I've worked almost entirely by myself.
Right.
And it's kind of lonely. Like, the only people I talk to are online. That's it.
It's funny you say that. The first like year or 2 that I did YouTube, I was super lonely. Like, because you work from home, like, or you work by yourself, like you said, right? And then, I met you, I met the Bourbon Junkies, I met some other people on YouTube. I started talking to Pete occasionally. So like, having those connections in the space, even though I'm not physically in the same space as y'all, just having somebody to talk about the day-to-day things of YouTube, it really helps, because when you work for yourself, you're not in a work environment around a bunch of people like collaborating on a daily basis, right? And it can get a little like,
and that's the big thing for me is that collaboration and being able to bounce ideas off of each other, because I don't make the best decisions all the time, right? Like, I made this YouTube channel.
Can somebody, what timestamp with that? What is the 144? Okay, I just want to make sure we timestamp that so that
save that for posterity.
I can come back and be like, "Hey Taylor,
but how many times do I call you?
Podcast number 4.
How many times do I call you with some sort of conundrum that I just can't figure out, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I need your help. And half the time you're like, I don't fucking know. and the thing is, like, it's because you're not working on this with me. You've got your own shit to figure out. So what I want is somebody who is here, who is doing the same thing with me every day, and they know kind of what the hurdle is, and they're trying to figure it out with me, and we can bounce ideas, like have a whiteboard and be like, this video should be titled this, and then write down like 6 options, and just come up with better ideas than what I'm capable of on my own. That's something I want. And like, if I need B-roll, hand somebody the camera and be like, here, shoot B-roll. I'll put this watch on and get B-roll, versus, propping it up on a table and setting up the lights and setting up my jib and getting that shot.
Like, goddamn, dude,
having that person. So that jib is amazing. I love it.
That jib is amazing, but goddamn, it's still a pain in the ass.
It takes so long to set up, and
it's still a pain in the ass. I mean, it allows you to do something that you physically could not do otherwise. Right. So that aspect of it's great, but it is way more time consuming than if you had a second person there that could just hand do it, Yep.
If you've got that other person, have them put it on 120 FPS and
rip it.
30 seconds
or 240
seconds
or 240 FPS if you got that new Sony A7S Mark III that's coming. Very excited about that. I don't think I'm ever going to get it though. I ordered that bitch like a month and a half ago. I'm still like, dude, that was pre-ordering cameras is such a fucking goddamn. I ordered that damn thing like the beginning of August, and I'm not going to get if they don't end up running out, I'm not going to get it till the end of September.
Yeah,
did I say September? September. I left the B completely out. September.
But having somebody shoot it takes 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes even. Setting it up and doing it yourself is like a 30-minute process.
Setting up that jib and trying to get it just right, and you move.
Dude, have you ever tried?
You go back and it's just like looking at your crotch, and you're like, well, fuck, this isn't a crotch shot. I meant for it to be on my pocket, not on my dick. Like, this is a totally messed up situation.
Have you ever tried to do a jib shot while holding something?
Dude, yes.
Dude, you can't. Like, your hand won't stay still enough. Like,
it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like the smallest movement, you're like, fuck, out of frame. Shit. Hey, especially if you're on like 100mm lens, forget it. Fucking forget it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I was trying to get a close up on a cigar at 100mm holding it, and my hand looked like I had Parkinson's. I mean, it was just all over the place. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is ridiculous. Come on. Anyway, to wrap it up, because I do want to get to comments for a few minutes. Did you have any final thoughts?
Well, I'm just regarding the jib tomorrow. What's on the agenda is a shit ton of B-roll of watches, which all have to be fucking macro shots.
You can go fuck yourself. That is the best looking watch you have. I don't care what you say.
Hey, I had to take it off because it's so hot in here.
Fuck your Christopher Ward. Don't get me wrong. I love the Christopher Ward. I'm not saying that, but you said you think it's a contender. That watch is better looking, dude. That watch has that little something special, bro.
It's got a little something special, but the Christopher Ward, I think, is made better.
Yeah.
So vote in the comments. Which of these is the better watch? Can I get them lined up?
People, come on.
I can't figure this out.
Let's go back to that jib thing. See, you're all fucking backwards. Let's be honest, people. I hope that nobody cares that I burp into the mic. I kind of do it on purpose.
I got the Christopher Ward upside down.
The Oris. Come on, people. Let's get real.
Much better.
The Christopher Ward's a good looking watch. I'm not dogging the Christopher Ward. That Oris, though.
It does look good.
And here's the thing. That shot's not even doing that Oris justice. The bezel on that thing, like some of the details of that watch is what makes that Oris fucking.
Yeah. Here, we'll do this. Look at this. We can do this. And that
date hand complication, that's like a big date hand. Come on, dude. Yeah, see that coin bezel? I don't know if they would call that a coin bezel. And I know we're not supposed to get into watches too much. It was funny the when you said, what should you talk about tonight's podcast? One person's comment was not watches.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's a good looking watch, dude, but it is a little more compared to that Oris, dude. That Oris, look at the comments. Oris.
Dude,
bro. The Oris.
I know. I get it. I hear you.
Let's get to some comments though. My final thought is be bold. Fortune favors the bold. If you want to work for yourself, fucking put in the time, do it. If you're young, nail it, do it, get out there, get her fucking done. If you're older, set yourself up a little safety net so you don't fucking starve your kids, and then still do it. But just set yourself up a safety net of some nature so that you don't, you got to feed them children. It's your responsibility as a parent.
Yeah. The other thing, my suggestion would be just be willing to eat shit for a long time. You're going to have to. That's just
you got to be willing to take
part of it.
Big old healthy bite of that shit sandwich and like it. That's all right though. Sometimes shit sandwiches are all right.
Yeah. So let's field some questions for about 10, 15 minutes.
I see my boy AB Cigars in the house. AB Cigar. Hey, Alec, by the way, buddy, this is yours, man. This is an AB. I said it earlier. I don't know when you dropped in. It's fucking autofocus. This is why I want my damn Sony.
Look at this. I'm gonna just show these on screen.
Yeah, I know.
I see 1 vote for the ward. Look at this.
That's because the Oris. Dude,
Oris.
Who said the Oris stomps the shit out of it?
Oris.
And you were like, I don't know, man. Christopher Ward's super nice. I'm like, yeah, the Christopher Ward is nice, but that Oris stomps the ever-loving shit out of it.
Oris.
Anyway, I was telling my boy AB, this is one of his cigars. That's all that's left, buddy. This is the what did I say this was in the beginning? What cigar did I say this was?
I don't remember.
This is one of your cigars.
I like this. I like this. Jeremy, you are the definition of patina.
I've got patina in my beard. Maybe that's why I like patina so much, because I'm a rusty old bastard myself. This is the
you need that salty old bastard flask.
I do, bro. That's exact, dude. Did he know that's what this was from this little fucking nub? Are you kidding me right now? Was he able to identify this cigar from this little nub, or was he in here earlier when I said it?
I don't know. He might have been in here. I don't know.
If he wasn't in here and he just identified this from a fucking nub, Alec, he just took another notch up in my book. That motherfucker is on his game, son.
Greg Rudzinski says humble pie. Yes, you have to eat your humble pie.
You got to, bro,
to make it. And and the biggest thing for me, I think, for other people, like the biggest advice from me for other people is don't compare yourself to other creators.
Dude, that's some fucking advice right there,
like,
bro.
It's so easy for me to look at Jeremy and compare myself to what his channel is. Like, you're over 300,000 subscribers. Like, we hit 100,000 pretty close to one another.
Oh, bullshit. You always say that. No. You're gonna try to pull this. Oh, Jeremy pulled ahead shit.
No. I'm saying I don't compare. Like, I just don't.
I was gonna say, I'm like, dude, no. Because here's the thing. Your channel grew so much faster than mine ever did, bro. You smoked 100,000 subscribers in 13 months.
Yeah, it was like right over a year, I think.
It took me like 3 years, bro.
What I'm saying is, like, we hit 100,000 at around the same time, right? Sometime 2019.
Oh yeah.
And then by the time I hit 100,000, like, you were at 100,000, I was like 95. By the time I hit 100,000, you were like 120.
Yeah.
And then just boom, just took off like a rocket. And it's so easy for me to like be like, shit, like, look at that. Why can't I be like that? But I just don't compare myself anymore. Like, I look at what I've got and I make my videos and I'm happy with it. And I'm just cruising right along. Like, it's just,
the best advice you can give anybody, man, is just don't worry about it.
You start comparing yourself to other people and you're going to get bogged down by that. Like,
you get fucking stressed
I have people who I've been working with off and on for 7, 8, 9 years. And it's so easy to compare what I have to what they have. Some of them are over 1 million subscribers. I used to do a podcast a long time ago with Marquez Brownlee, who has over 10 million subscribers now. We don't even talk anymore, but like, it's so easy to compare and just be like, well, shit, I wish I had that, but look what I have. I'm very happy to have what I have. So you just have to be okay with what you've got and enjoy it. Don't take it for granted and don't compare yourself to other people.
Somebody made a comment, Jeremy, the band is over on the side. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right, dude. The band was over there. I totally forgot. Yeah. Somebody else has got more acute attention to detail than I do.
Joe Bergman says shortcut to success equals put in the work. That's it all the time. Yeah, so there is no shortcut. There's no shortcut at all.
No shortcut. Just do it. Just do it. Alec I did see he said somebody told him. Okay, I appreciate you being honest, Alex. I was about to think you were a fucking cigar psychic or something. I was like, Jesus Christ, he is the man. He figured that out by looking at that little ass nub. There's another question somebody said. Somebody asked if I was going to do any vlogs. I hit on that a little earlier in the video. Yeah, I mean, I love doing vlogs. I plan on always doing them to some fashion. I think you feel the same way about vlogs, Taylor. It's just whether or not it fits in, right? Like, there's times where I'm doing a lot of other projects that don't really work well with vlogging, and I'm spending a lot of time here shooting and editing, and I'm not doing anything exciting that a vlog would be fun. So for
me, I have been trying to do them I mean, he's not asking me. I know that, but
well, yeah, but I mean,
I just have to say I'm really bad at making them.
Right. I enjoy it. It's a different kind of thing, a vlog, man. It's different than doing some kind of product. Well, I won't call it a review because we talked both earlier about how we don't really like to call it reviews, but it's different than doing a product video, doing a vlog. It's very fluid and movie, and that's what I like about it. Is it's very different than my standard content. And I enjoy the change. Yeah. At the same time, a lot of times I don't, especially with Corona going on, I'm not doing anything. What am I going to be sitting here?
For me, what I've learned is that I am not good at it.
Oh, I'm not good at it. You're fine, dude. Some of the ones you did when you went in and did the shit was fun.
I know. I'm just saying I forget to hit record a lot. You know, like I'm just dude. I'm not good at like staying on top of that, and I tend to talk a lot. And one thing that Peter has taught me is show more, say less, and I'm so fucking bad at that.
Dude, I'm the so bad at that. You know, and it's funny, dude. I get these comments that crack me up. Like a lot of people say, longer videos, Jeremy, longer videos. We want longer videos because a lot of guys like sit and smoke a cigar and whatever. And then I have other people that are like, you long-winded bag of fucking wind. Shut the hell up and get to the point. And I'm like, well, goddamn, how do I make both people happy? Some people
just make what you want.
But well, that's what I've kind of come to do. Like I just make the videos. If you don't like it, then there's another YouTuber out there for you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like saying that to people sometimes. I'm like, if you don't like it, just move the fuck on. Like
when somebody complains to me about the length of my videos or how much I talk, I always say YouTube has a 2x watch like playback function. Either use it or go watch somebody else.
Right. It's like, dude, why complain? Like there's somebody
like stretching your length so you can get that extra ad playing in the middle of your video. And I'm like, no, I always make the videos how long I feel like they should be made. If I was trying to stretch my videos, they would be like 10 minutes and 5 seconds, not 25 minutes.
Well, not to mention now YouTube you only have to have like an 8-minute video. I mean, shit, you don't have to stretch it very far. By the time I get through my fucking intro and roll my intro thing, 8 minutes is it. I'm fucking like, I'll be editing and I roll the intro and by the time I get to the point, I'm at like 5 minutes and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude, this is going to be a long one.
So I've started getting really quick into my videos because that's been a problem that I've had for a long time. Like some of the EDC weeklies, I would do the intro, but in the intro, I do all the community announcements and stuff too. So my intros would be like 5-6 minutes long sometimes. And everybody complains about it. And I'm like, it's not just an intro. I'm also giving community announcements. It's a community show. It just makes sense to do it here because if I put it at the end, nobody gets it. And then I get all the questions. So I put it at the beginning, either watch it or skip it. Like it's not that hard.
Right.
But now I've just, my intros are like 30 seconds to a minute long now.
Oh dude, hit that. That's Michael gone. I can't see that far.
Oh boy.
Michael.
I have no idea where you are.
Gonzalez. It's toward the bottom. He's one of the newer. We kind of touched on this earlier, Michael. Why not review things you don't like? Why only review what you is because of money? No, it's not. It's because of time. Like I'm not going to waste my time or the user's time reviewing something I don't like. Like I only put the stuff on my channel that I enjoy and I feel like other people would benefit from it. Right. There's plenty of other channels out there that like review everything that comes out, good, bad, or indifferent. That's just not my thing. It's not because of money, because that it doesn't change my money.
But also you cover a lot of different topics. So if you tried to review everything, you would have right. And that's kind of the thing for me. It's overwhelming to think about all the new products coming out. Imagine if I reviewed every new Civivi knife, every new Wii knife, every new artisan cutlery knife, every new CRJB, Benchmade, Spyderco. Like
what you cover, there's no way you could. You would have to make 13 videos a day. Like there's so many new knives. It's impossible.
So that's why I started doing these brand features is what I call them. And I take 8 ProTech knives and I talk about ProTech and then show off some of the options they have and say what I like about them and some of the things that sometimes I don't like about them. And I mean, even then I talked about it in the last podcast, like I try my best to be as thorough as possible and get everything right. And I still fuck it up all the time. I fucked that ProTech video up so many different ways. Like dude, it is what it is. But like, I don't have the time, the wherewithal. Like I have no capability to just review anything and everything. So I try to stick with stuff I like. I seek out the brands that I really, really like, and I try to give them the platform. So I use what I've built as a platform for people. So I really like, I get zero money from this, but I really love shouting out a small maker.
That's great, dude. It's
favorite things to do. I make nothing for it. Like usually, like the Cave Leather Company video, he tried to pay me. He was like, "Dude, you've made my sales go up so much. I owe you. What can I do? Can I pay you?" And I was like, "No, don't pay me. I just wanted to give you a little shout out because I like your products." And
it's great to be able to help those smaller guys get the name out there, man, because it can make their month or their year even, or their company, right, by getting a little exposure out there, right?
There we go. Short barrel rifle. Yes, I know it's the short blade rock eye.
Oh, by the way, but yeah, people say they like the coffee blind. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Glad you guys enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. I had the wife in the video. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I did. It's the only video of yours that I've ever watched.
What's that?
It's the only video of yours I've ever watched.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was a good one to watch because she makes it a little easier to watch. You don't have to stare at my ugly butt all the time. But yeah, dude, it's fun. I saw a couple see you're looser. You know, that's kind of what like goes back to quickly what me and Taylor were talking about, right? Is sitting in a room by yourself, looking down the barrel of a lens. You try to be as genuine as you possibly can. And I feel like I do a decent job at it, but you're never 100% yourself. Dude, unless you have somebody else, another human in there to interact with. Right. So both of the last two videos I did, one, my wife was off camera, but in the room because she poured the whiskey for me. So I wouldn't know what was what. And the other, she was actually on camera because she likes coffee also. And both of those, it's so much easier to be yourself because you have somebody to riff with.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. We enjoyed shooting them.
We've talked about this a lot. You're so much better at joking and being just kind of loose in front of the camera. And it's funny because I've been doing this for so much longer, right? But as soon as I see that little red blinking light, dude, I turn into a fucking robot and I'm like, get this done. And a lot of the time
I think you're good. You're definitely not as loose. Like when me and you talk, you're a much funnier guy. But I don't think you're robotic. I think you're great on camera. I don't think you're quite as loose as you are naturally, but I don't think anybody is, right?
Like I'm fluid on camera. I don't mess up a ton. Like I mess up some.
I think you're far more fluid than I am.
Well, I think that comes with doing it for so long.
Right. Oh, by the way, real quick, Alec Bradley, go fuck yourself. Sorry. He said when I review Whistle Pig, he was fucking dogging me because he knows I hate that garbage shit. He's throwing a little jab out there. Sorry, go ahead. I just had to respond to that before he got too far and I lost it.
I was just saying, I think I feel pretty comfortable in front of the camera. I can talk pretty naturally, but I just don't joke. And I think it's because I need that physical person there to joke with. I've done a few videos with my buddy Jabin with him behind the cameras. And when he's there, I give him shit and I'm loose and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
That's one of those reasons that I've said many, many times is that I want someone to work with me on stuff because it's just that riffing factor. Like I can riff with the person behind the camera and have fun. And if they're not there, I'm just going to be like, here are the fucking facts. Let's get this over. Also, it's 90 fucking degrees in here. My Taint fan's not on.
Look, Barrel and Blend just said it's like drinking grass clippings. Thank you, Barrel and Blend. That is exactly what Whistle Pig's like. You want to taste what Whistle Pig tastes like? Go out and mow your grass. Go buy some whiskey. Go out and mow your grass. Then throw those grass clippings in a cup. Let it marinate like fucking tea for about 4 or 5 hours. Then strain that grass out and drink it. That's what Whistle Pig tastes like.
Wow. Kyle, I don't know how to say that, says, Taylor, if you had someone picking up the picks and editing everything into a doc that'd be easy to read, would you bring back the EDC Weekly as a weekly thing? I've been trying for a long time, and it's not necessarily the picking out and all of that. The biggest problem with the EDC Weekly has always been the edit. And I've talked about this with Jeremy a lot. I got into a mindset where I hated editing fucking everything.
Oh, dude, I remember you.
God, I hated it so much because what happened.
We talked about it, like, dude, I can't do the EDC weeklies anymore, man. I'm so fucking over it. And I'm like, dude, but people love that shit. That's like one of your most popular things. You can't stop. You're gonna fucking piss everybody off. He's like, I know. It's such a fucking pain in the ass.
So what happened is I just got so tired of editing every single video because my old desktop was slow. It was getting pretty old. My MacBook with an eGPU just couldn't handle it. And part of that problem, you're going to run into this. I think you'll see what I'm talking about. Is that the Sony codec, the Sony cameras record into a codec that is not made for editing. So when you put it into a video editor, you need to transcode it into another format or something because it just bogs everything down. But the problem I was running into is that with the MacBook and the eGPU, if I tried to transcode it to like ProRes or something, all of my videos, I'm doing 3 angles and 4K, and they're like an hour of footage each, and it would take like 9 hours to transcode, and it's just it's such a slog. But even just the EDC Weekly, like the biggest thing for me was the editing. Like I would hit spacebar in Premiere to try to play and move that scrub, whatever I don't know what you would call it. Just try to move the timeline forward so I can make an edit, and it would lag like 6 seconds. So the audio is playing, but the video's not. So I'd pause it, roll it back, and hit it again, and it would do it again. And I'd have to do that like 5 or 6 times just to get the playhead.
Transcoder proxies, man. One or the other. I prefer transcoding stuff.
I used to do proxies, and it would still have the same issue. So it was just this thing where for a year and a half, every single video edit was a goddamn nightmare. Just hated it. And now, like, I'm just coded. My brain is just like, I'm forced to think that these edits are going to be horrible. But like the video I did on Monday, I came in, I shot it, I had it edited in an hour and a half. It was so easy. And that is one of the benefits of putting $4,000 into a computer. I can now edit easily. So now it's more of like a time constraint tool, or not tool, a time constraint. I've read tool as I was saying. It's just a time constraint thing. That, and I feel like the EDC Weekly, for me, just got a little long in the tooth because I've done to date like 90 episodes of it. So
people are asking about this, so I thought I would show it.
Yeah, your little nubbin tool. That's what
it's a cigar nubber. This particular one's called the Modus 2. It's a pretty cool little tool. Who asked that? Somebody asked it. I was trying to call them out real quick.
Oh, no, Steve said he had one.
Steve had one. Somebody else asked.
Someone called it a roach clip.
You know why they call a roach clip a roach clip? Because potholder was already taken. Oh, dad joke of the night. Come on, bring it.
Wow.
No, it's a nubbin tool, right? So this one's called a Modus, and the cool thing about it is it's got these 2 really sharp prongs on the end, right? So that prongs, did I say prawns? Prawns is a fucking shrimp that you can stick into and nub if you're a big fan of a cigar and you want to smoke it down. Alec Bradley, by the way, shout out. This thing's great. So it's got a cap that goes on it. This thing's about the size of a cigar, so you can put it down like a cigar case or whatnot, but it's got this cap comes off and there's a nubber on one end. And then on the other end, you can unscrew it and there's a draw tool. So you can, if you're having draw issues, you can pull out the old plug. And then on the end here, there is a little, this fucking thing. There is a
should have got a Sony.
Yeah, I know. On the end here, there's a little punch tool. So it's like a little 3-in-1 tool. Pretty cool. The draw tool does not work as good as like the perfect draw tool. The perfect draw tool is actually my favorite draw tool, but this is a nice little 3-in-1 that you could just have around, and it basically has anything you need other than fire to smoke a cigar.
Oh, since we are fielding questions and comments right now, I should read Alex's text message. This was from 30 minutes ago. She said, "It's me. I'm the business guy. I say that." That was in response to what you said about the bigger space, where like the business guy would be like, "This is a good thing because you can just work this much more and make this much more money and offset."
Yeah, I've heard business guys say that. I don't know if all of them would, but I've definitely heard business guys with the whole like, yeah, you have to invest money to make money kind of thing. It depends, who you talk to.
Yeah. Alex is like, get the space. I'm
more of a conservative kind of person. I've
been coming up on this issue for a while now. I mean, look, I'm podcasting right now. You can see the glisten on my face. It's like 82 in here right now.
burn your mustache. That is exactly when I know a good cigar, it's time for the cigar to be put down. When I start hearing sizzling because I'm starting to singe, that's also how I trim my mustache around here. No need to trim your mustache. Just smoke cigars down and it'll burn off any, any little extras you got. And then, it's good. What you got there? Oh, you got some more of that. Dude, I think I've had about 3-4 pours of this. Maybe it was only 2.
I just wanted to switch to a rye just to taste the difference from that 1920.
A rye.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do a big pour, just a little bit. Just want
Randall Oak says just use a corn holder. Dude, I use those all the time. This is a little nicer because it's got a longer handle, so you can kind of
just use a knife. Just pull your knife out.
It doesn't want to stay on there, and then it gets air leaks sometimes. The thing that's so nice about these is they're such small little things that you don't get air leaks. But yeah, I mean, in a pinch, you can definitely use a knife. What other questions we got? Jeremy, what flavors do you get going right now? Looks like you're enjoying the shit out of that nub. Right now, honestly, as most cigars, when you get this low, you're getting into those super dark kind of bitter flavors. Your black coffees, black coffee. I'm trying to think of what other flavors you get toward the end there right now. Mainly like bitter black coffee, espresso kind of shit. Most cigars, when you get this low, you're going to get a lot of bitter flavors. I don't mind that. I'm an espresso guy. I drink espresso and stuff. So a lot of people say when they get hot and they get low like this, they don't like smoking them anymore. I just look at it as like a different section of the cigar. But most all cigars will go a little bitter toward the end because I mean, there's a lot of built up residue at this point that's burning and tar and stuff. And it's a little hot at this point. So it doesn't tend to be the smoothest thing in the world when you get down this low, but they're good nevertheless.
Joe Bergman says, Taylor, any thought on purchasing a commercial loan for a small multi-tenant retail building for a possible studio to subsidize your space? Holy shit. No. One, my business has like 0 credit, so that would not fly. That would be a big purchase. It'd be great if I could manage something like that, but nah.
Bread. Sorry. Somebody asked me about flavors, and then I wasn't paying attention to the flavors because I was just kind of smoking. So then I was kind of thinking that last puff to give somebody some flavor. I'm getting pumpernickel bread. Does anybody know what pumpernickel bread tastes like?
I don't know off the top of my head. Someone asks
black coffee
about my headphones. These are Audio Technica ATX 50Xs.
Oh yeah, those are the go-tos, man.
ATH 50X.
They're good reference headphones. They're not real good for music, like low end and stuff, but they're good like neutral reference headphones.
Yeah, but pro tip: get the felt cups for them. They're much better than.
Yeah, dude, those leather ones make you sweat, bro.
Leather ones are awful. They dry and crack and stuff like that. And then one more, I have to choose this because Brandon says, go check out the memes channel in the Discord. I've been working on that for the last hour.
I guarantee it's probably good.
You want to see it?
Put it up.
I gotta hide this. Hardbag Taint fan. Natural color, non-chilled filtered, extra salty, cooling your wee BC since 2020.
Dude, that is the best thing I've seen in a hot minute, dude. He's got you on a kilt with a whiskey knot. Dude, that is fucking fantastic. Who did that? Brandon Hartman. You're a fucking legend, my friend. You're a legend.
Wee BC since 2020.
Why has he got to call your beastie wee?
I don't know.
Hey, at least it has beastie in it, though. That kind of makes up for it a little bit.
That's awesome. Here's a you're not supposed to talk about watches. First time caller, long time listener. What do you guys Breitling?
I actually like a few Breitlings, man. The one Pete has. I don't want to talk about what watches he has, but I do take Breitlings.
That one's a little big. Pete's is a little big and aggressive for me. He has the Avenger, but I like the Navitimer a lot.
Navitimer's nice. It's got that like super coiny, like there's like little BBs around the bezel, right? It's like that little, isn't that the one that has like the real showy bezel?
There are a lot of, here, I'll just Breitling Navi. There are a lot of different Navitimers. I have a wide selection.
Sir Knight EDC says later guys going to bed. Good night, my brother.
All right. So when I say I like the Navitimer, I like Do like a Panda.
Yeah, see, that's got that crazy bezel on it. It's got all them little nubbins on it.
Nubbins.
Nubbins.
Some of them are pretty busy.
That's a fucking crazy busy. See, that's got too much shit. I couldn't even tell time on that fucking thing.
Well, that's because your eyesight's going.
Well, no, dude, that's what I understand. I see some of these like, and usually it's more like, I would say almost fashion-y watches that have like nothing on them. It's just a fucking blank dial. And I'm like, what's the point in that? You know how hard it is to be accurate about what time it is with that shit? There's nothing on there. There's no numbers. There's no dial. There's no indices. There's nothing. It's just a fucking blank dial. I'm like, what good is that? Jeremy, have you ever tried Ezra? No, I don't think I have tried those. Incredible, unique blend. You should review them. Huh. I'll look for them. I don't think I've ever seen that. Ezra's Zion, I think is how that's said. I think I've ever had it.
Where did it
go?
By
By the way, Taylor, AB is in here and he said, I like vintage Navy timer. Check it out. I think I told you about him. He is a big vintage watch guy. He's dude, he sent me a picture of, I forgot what it was. I forgot what watch it was that he sent me a picture of, but dude, the patina on that thing, patina, just for you guys that are on here.
You gotta say it about 20 more times because we got to get people caught up.
Dude, but the patina on that watch he sent me a picture of that is the one good thing about antique watches, dude. Some of them age really well and they look really cool once they get some patina on them. But that's why he's a big fan of those watches, the antiques, and I agree.
Randall Oak says, I was always told no one cares, work harder. Always has been a quote that drives me. That's a good quote.
It's true. I think Cam Haynes, he's a big fan of that quote. No one cares, work harder. Like, don't want to hear your fucking whining. Just get after it.
Noah Malinowski says, what watch was it that I was looking to get on it? It had a bubble looking cover and a leather strap. So you were talking about the Young Hands Max Bill type. Max Bill chronoscope. I cannot type at all. Wow. I'll blame it on the whiskey. Young Hands Max Bill chronoscope is the watch we're talking about here. Give me just a second. Wow, that is not what I wanted.
I'm trying to look through these comments. Dude, it was a 50 Seamaster he sent me a picture of. It was dope.
So that's the one I was talking about. It's definitely a bubble.
You're a fan of the Young Hands.
Yeah, I like Bauhaus watches. Very simple, very minimalistic styling. It's a certain design. Is just not Young Hands. Bauhaus. It's a German aesthetic.
I think I'm starting to hear some crackling. I think this one's about as low as I can get it. Just so you guys can see where I normally smoke a good cigar to. I usually smoke it to about there. Sometimes I get it a little lower, but usually about there. That's usually where I about call it a day because it starts burning my lips and singeing my mustache and shit. And it's usually time to, so this Prensado. It was good. Tasty. Very nice cigar.
So someone says, where is it? Ed Meyer says, you guys a fan of vintage micarta? Let me just show you something really quickly.
I don't know that I've ever even seen vintage micarta. I know I like micarta because patina. There we go. I got a few more in for you, Taylor. I like the way it looks as it ages and gets that patina on it. But I don't know that I've ever seen vintage. Has it been around long enough that you can call it vintage? Is micarta like an old thing? I thought that was a fairly new thing. Is it an old thing?
So it's basically making micarta out of a vintage canvas. Right, so you get a different look out of it. So here is a Ware Knives knife, a custom that Matt is making for me.
Okay.
Nice, like I don't even know how to explain it, but that right there is vintage micarta.
Okay.
It looks so good.
Nice. That does look really good. That does look really good. So I can get
another view of this.
Joe says, can we expect a video 5? Joe, I don't know. They didn't include me on that. And while I could do 5 videos for every occasion, they wouldn't mind. We're friends, so I'm sure they'd be fine with it. They didn't tag me, so to speak. So I don't know. Maybe. I won't say no, but I won't say yes either. Yeah, dude, that looks. Oh, dude, that one is fucking ridiculous. I don't care about the micarta. I mean, don't get me wrong, that micarta is dope, but like the micarta, the color of that with that acid etched blade and whatnot, get the fuck out of here, dude. That thing is next level.
So I picked this config. Matt said, "How do you want me to make this knife?" And I picked everything, and this is what I came up with, man.
That's a good one too. I like the other one better though. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
That's the other side. That's the other side.
Is it? Why does the blade shape look different?
It's just right here is just it blends in with the concrete.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, that one looks like a rhino horn on the end. The other one didn't look like that on the end.
Yeah, it's just the angle and the lighting.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, David Wallace in the house. I'm just kidding, Davis. I know it's you, buddy.
It's David, isn't it?
It's David Wallace. David Wallace in the house.
But yeah, I mean, you can see it's just that swedge.
Yeah, there's this. Well, that's what I thought it was, right? But from that other angle, it was blending in, and it looked kind of curved on the tip, and I didn't dig that as much. That I really like. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've been waiting on this knife for a long time. He told me. So what happened, and this is one of those things where I made $0 from this. Matt, if you're not familiar with Matt Warewine, he used to be a professional knife modder under EDC Alabama, and I made a video on him. We talked about it for a long time. I remember
he did your copper
PM2.
Yeah.
So I did a video on his mods a long time ago, and the funny thing is, like, his whole point in doing the mods was to try to like kickstart his custom knife making business. And I did this video on his knife mods, and he got so much business from that video that he closed his books and immediately started transitioning into being a full-time knife maker, which is an amazing story. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
But it's so funny because that video still gets views, and people are like, "He's not doing mods anymore. What do I do now?" To answer that question, EDC Gearhouse also does great mods. But anyway, Matt, like, he paid me nothing for that. I didn't ask for anything. It was just, I think he does good work, and I wanted to showcase it. So I did, and it kickstarted his business. And he said, as a thank you, I want to make you a knife when I go full time. And he went full time at the beginning of August, and he immediately started working on my knife. He ran into some issues with this one, so he's finishing it. But still, like I told him, I was like, you do not have to do that. That's way too nice. Way too nice. But
that is a sweet knife. Sweet.
He basically said, if you don't tell me what you want, I'll just make you something and send it anyway. So you better tell me what you want. So I came up with this config, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out so far.
Pretty happy, my nuts. I'd be ecstatic.
I am. I'm super excited for it.
That's the next cigar I'm going to light up real quick. I don't think my thing will focus that close. That is an Aganorsa leaf.
That's a fat looking cigar.
Well, that's why I'm because after we get done with the podcast, I'm gonna watch a little TV for a little bit before I go to bed. So this is gonna be my finisher for the night. This is I think this one's called like a dark pretzel or something. It was in a Pravada Cigar Club box back a little bit ago. Somebody asked me a question about my concealed carry, Nick S, because of how hot it is. The heat is a real factor with that, man. Which is why I went to oh my God, brain fart. The fucking little bitty Ruger LCP. I started carrying, it's a 380, which isn't probably the most, powerful round in the world, but it's really small. You can get a clip for the gun itself so that it just clips into your pants. So I don't have to wear a holster or anything. It's a polymer gun. So, sweating on it's not the end of the world as long as you keep it clean. Oil it up occasionally and clean it and stuff. And then I can just, even if I'm wearing like board shorts, because it's just hot as balls in Florida, and sometimes that's all you can stomach to wear is a t-shirt and some board shorts, you can just clip that thing inside your pants without a holster or belt or anything. And it's super light. And the best carry is the one you have on you, right? So people like, oh, you're carrying a 380. Well, I'd rather carry a 380 than a 45 not carrying it because it's too hot. It doesn't do me any good if it's at home in the drawer. So that's my opinion. A Glock 43 is a great one. Somebody just listed that. That's one that I've thought about purchasing. I don't have a 43. I do have what's the full size 45 Glock? I can't remember the number of it off the top of my head. It's a huge ass gun though. I ain't no carrying that thing in board shorts. That motherfucker is a brick.
I saw a really good Glock meme the other day. I don't know if I can even find it. It was about the number schemes on Glocks.
Yeah, dude, they're weird. I can't remember what the full size 45 caliber 45 ACP Glock, what number it is. I have it downstairs in my gun room too. You'd think I'd remember, but I can't.
God, I wish I could find this. Let me see if I can really quickly. Probably can't. The guy that posted it posts like 8,000 times a day, but we're gonna try.
Get a car, CP. Yeah, some of the cars are nice, dude. As far as like, I'm not a big fan of like ultra compact handguns. I don't really want like a ton of them in my collection because I'm not a huge fan of them. I have the LCP because, you know, like I said, it has the clip capability of just clipping it down in my pants. I've thought about getting a Glock as just a secondary, but other than that, I'm more a fan of more full size handguns. There's a lot more fun to shoot. My favorite's a 1911, man. I have a Kimber 1911. I have a Smith & Wesson 1911. I love a good 1911, man. Trigger pull on those things is nice and crisp and short and light. I think my Smith & Wesson has about a 3-pound trigger. It's light as shit. It's nice. Kimber 9, Micro 9. People are talking about that. 15 clip. Walther allows 10 to 15, and yeah. Nighthawk, only gun. The only gun I got is my fist, he says.
God, I wish I could find this, but he posts so many things. And I think he just shared it from somebody else on Facebook, but it was this long description about the history of Glock numbers, but it was...
Well, there's a guy on here saying that it has something to do with they're related to the patent number. That's why they're weird. So that could be it.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Like, I've never been able to understand them.
Yeah, they're definitely... that's why I can't remember them half the time. I'm like, wait a minute.
I was talking about, like, the caliber with the numbers and how they're all just sort of fucked up.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it that I've ever been able to discern. It's just kind of... Which is why I can't ever remember them.
Dude, I've been scrolling for, like... I don't even know how long since I said I was going to look this up, and I'm still only at yesterday. Oh my God, this guy posts way too much. If I do find it, I gotta block his name out.
Running out of gas again. I will say that's the only problem with Zippo butane lighters. Jet. Now my Zippo soft flame butane doesn't run out as quick, and the Zippo with normal Zippo fluid will last a good amount. But when you got a Zippo jet, you do have to refill them pretty frequently because there's just not a lot of capacity there. But I will forgo a little extra capacity for the awesomeness of a Zippo.
Update. I gave up. It was just too many. I scrolled for a good like 4 minutes, and I was on August 31st. So this was like 2 weeks ago. There's no way I was ever going to find it.
But yeah, you know, concealed carry is an interesting topic, and yeah, maybe that's something we'll cover one day. I know Taylor doesn't carry per se, so it might not be the most fun topic for him to cover, but and it's not the most YouTube friendly thing, but it's probably something we'll cover at some point, just because that is a pretty extensive situation. There's so many opinions on it though, man. I personally like smaller. I used to carry full size 1911 as my concealed carry, which is kind of ridiculous.
I conceal a sawed-off shotgun.
Thunderbird is making their own Zippo style lighter. Yeah, dude, fuck Thunderbird and their Zippo style lighters. Go Zippo. I do have a Thunderbird insert though. I will say I use their inserts, but I prefer sticking with the good old USA made Zippo.
To flip that around, Zippo is now making Thunderbird style inserts for Zippos.
Well, I think they started out making inserts, right?
Yeah.
And then I think they make their own Zippo-ish lighter now, right? So it looks like a Zippo.
That is a very good point. I don't carry yet.
There's a couple things we're going to get Taylor on: cigars and guns.
Can I vent one of my frustrations though? One of my biggest frustrations is when I get comments on my YouTube channel saying it can't be EDC if you don't have a gun, then it's kind of useless. And it's
well, that's just fucking somebody being stupid.
It's fucking dumb. But do you know how many I get? I get several of those a day.
Oh, I'm sure you do. It's like, stop it.
And the thing is, like, it's not normal to the rest of the world to carry a gun. It's only an American thing, and everyday carry is not just an American thing. It's everybody. Like everybody has a carry, and it just drives me crazy.
It's unfair to say that. If you're a college student, your everyday carry is what you carry every day. If you're a college student and every day you're in college classes, you can't carry a fucking gun. So, I mean, your everyday carry is not going to include a firearm, or it probably shouldn't, because you're probably going to get yourself in some trouble carrying a gun on campus. So, I mean, it's still your everyday carry. It does not have to have a gun to be an everyday carry. That is a ignorant comment. My everyday carry includes a gun, but here, let me be honest about that. My everyday carry does not include a gun. Okay. Because I don't leave the house every day. I don't walk around with a gun tucked in my waist at home. Now,
when you do leave, you got a gun and you're wearing a mask and you're basically holding up liquor stores.
Right. If I leave the house, I for sure have a gun. Anytime I leave my house, I have a gun. 100% of the time, never fails. Doesn't matter where I'm going, what I'm doing. If I'm going to my fucking parents' house, I've still got my gun. My friends used to fuck with me about that because I'd come to their house and I had my gun. They're like, dude, you were just coming over here. You're at my house. Why did you need your gun? I'm like, I don't leave my house without it. Okay. Shut the fuck up. Deal with it. But when I'm at home, I don't. So, I mean, my everyday carry every day does not consist of a firearm. So suck it.
Completely, totally unrelated, but this is something I saw and sort of related to what I was talking about earlier. Spent about, it wasn't $4,000 I spent on this computer. It was closer to like $3,400. 1,000 of that was for the GPU, right? Oh, NVIDIA 2080.
That's a beast though, right?
Yeah. Today, NVIDIA announced a new GPU, which outperforms it. And it's not $1,000. It's not over $1,000. It's $400. So this very expensive GPU I bought actually just sold. I just saw a tweet pop up on my phone. They're selling on the market now for $400. So 3 months after I bought it, it went from $1,000 to $400.
Nice.
Wonderful. Great.
Oh, Alec, by the way, depends on what insert you're talking about. There are two inserts I have. I have a Zippo insert that is, and it's running out of fluid right now, but I have a Zippo influrt. I fucking cannot talk most of the time, Taylor. It's a real struggle for me.
I know.
Which is why I have to edit so much. It's a double jet. So it's like a double jet style clicker, typical cigar kind of lighter insert. And then there is is it this one? No, that's it. This one is a Thunderbird. It's a soft flame insert. So it's still butane, but it has a soft flame like a kind of a normal Zippo.
Can I just say that I feel like, they're old, like people used to have those giant propane tanks outside their houses. Like I did when I was a kid. I had a big propane tank because we didn't have natural gas. And I just feel like Jeremy has a big tank of butane outside.
Dude, I do keep a pretty big tank of butane around just because I go through a lot of butane. It's not that big though. It's not like a fucking propane tank in your grill size or anything. It's the big can of Cigar butane.
It's hard to find butane.
It is. I have a local cigar shop that I get it from. You can order it on Amazon, strangely enough.
I was driving around when I got my Thunderbird insert for the Zippo. I was looking for butane. I went to Walmart and a bunch of different places. You can't get it there. You have to go to Walgreens. The only place locally that I could find butane. So weird. Well, you would think they have it at like Lowe's and hardware stores and stuff, but they do not.
No. Well, I think they have little cans of propane and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Stuff and nap gas and all that stuff. Is it nap? I think it's nap. Is it nap or map? Maybe it's map gas. Is it nap or map?
I don't know, but you're having a conversation with yourself now.
I am. I just can't remember. I think it burns hotter than propane for different torching. I think it was map or anyway. I'm spiraling. Taylor. I'm spiraling.
All right. Last question from Mr. Nuclear Nuts. Would you guys ever consider buying a replica of a watch that was way out of your price range? A replica, no, but something that's more of an homage and pays homage to something else, yeah. So this obviously is very much an homage to the Rolex Explorer 2 with the GMT hand and everything. It's just an Explorer 2 homage, but it's very much its own watch. It has its own design cues. It does not look the same. It just has similar features. then when you get to a brand like Steinhardt, who just all they do is literally direct copy everything, no, I wouldn't own that. But I'm happy owning things that draw design cues from other watches. That's fine.
What was the question again, Taylor? I'm sorry, you took it down and I didn't.
Would we ever buy something like a replica of a watch we couldn't afford?
Okay, here's an interesting thing. Okay. No and yes. No, because I don't like the idea of trying to pawn off something as something that it's not. I think that's disingenuous, right? And plus, I think the person that invented and made that watch deserves that credit. And a lot of these knockoff companies, like I don't like the whole idea of taking somebody else's idea, doing the exact same thing, and then making money off somebody else's thing. Exactly. Like I think it's a little shitty. I will say there is one instance that a buddy of mine does it, and I actually have one because he sent me one to try out, and I get where he's coming from. He is a guy who buys very expensive watches. He buys $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 watches. He regularly buys super clones of those watches to wear them, make sure he likes the way it feels on his wrist, make sure everything's good, because these super clones are really good. I mean, some of these super clones, you would almost have to go to a dealer for them to tell the difference between the super clone and he will buy that as a kind of test run before he drops 30 grand on a watch. I get that aspect of it, right? If I'm going to drop that much on a watch, I get like, I want to make sure I like it before I drop that much. But he then buys that watch as long as he likes it. So it's not like he's trying to pawn it off as something it's not, or he's not supporting the maker of the original thing, because he does get it. He uses it as kind of a test run. So
I understand that, and I can't really knock that, but at the same time, you're putting money into the pockets of the brand that stole the design, and that part, I'm not a fan of.
No, and that's why I said I get both sides. Like I don't, but I do. I get where he's coming from, because he's like, dude, that's a lot of money on a watch. Like if I'm going to drop 30 G's on a watch, I want to make sure, right? And it's not like you can go buy AP, wear it for a week, decide you don't like it, and take it back. That doesn't work, you know? So I get where he's coming from. I do hate supporting those people. I agree with you. It's a little like, but nevertheless.
Yeah. For me, I would not personally buy a knockoff. And if it was a very close homage, I'd be a little hesitant. Like I love the Speedmaster, and there's a Dan Henry that's very close to the 1964. Dan Henry is very close to a Speedmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And two reasons I didn't buy it is because it's a little too on the nose, and also it's a quartz watch. And
and you know, for that matter, I don't even like the homage. Is it homage or homage?
Same word, different pronunciation.
I don't even like those when they're too close, right? Like there's a lot of watches that are basically an homage to another watch, right? There are a lot of watches out there that are homages.
Well, like your Oris is a sub homage. It is.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see the sub in there at all. I mean, I know there's
just like a Black Bay, like
a Black Bay is for sure a sub.
Well, look at the sub next to a Black Bay next to an Oris 65. Like it definitely is a sub homage.
But my point is, I guess, is if it's too close, it starts getting a little weird, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying is like the Oris is an homage, but it is its own watch.
Right. If
like that bronze bezel.
It pulls some styling cues, but it's its own thing, then that's okay. But like that one company makes the ones, and it's basically a 1-for-1 replica, but they put a different name. What's that brand with the octopus?
Phoibos.
Yeah, Phoibos, whatever. They make those sub homages that are, I mean, it's a fucking sub. It's a sub with an octopus on it instead of a crown. It's a sub.
And it's like the Islanders, right? So the Islander watches from Long Island Watch, they are basically Seikos, like 007s, but with all the upgrades. And for me, they're a little on the nose, and I don't like the logo. They're just a little too perfect.
Right. if it gets too close to where it's like, okay, you're basically replicating that and putting your logo on it, like
look at this.
It's a little weird. I'd just rather buy a watch. Just save and get the real thing.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Maybe it's not an Explorer 2. Maybe I think it might be an Explorer or a GMT.
Isn't Tudor owned by Rolex? Yes, they are.
Yep.
Yeah, they are owned by Rolex, which is why I want a Tudor so bad.
So when I said
I want a Tudor because I love that fucking Black Bay.
So when I said that this was an Explorer 2 homage, look at this. Like you can clearly see. This is a very small view, but you can clearly see the similarities, right? Yeah. Steel bezel, the orange GMT hand. You know, it's got but it looks like its own watch at the same time.
Right.
So I think that's the point where there's that line that is a little bit defined, and I'm okay with something that pays homage to something old, but isn't a pretty much on the nose replica.
Yeah. There's that line, right? Where it's like, there are no completely original ideas from fuck, almost all divers to some extent are paying homage to a Submariner. I mean,
they all look pretty freaking
they're all say there's not some similar design cues there would be being very disingenuous. But as long as they're their own thing.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap up. Also, I am completely drenched. I'm so hot right now.
Yeah, you're probably hot. You're ready to get out of there. Plus, we're at 2:41, which is a little long. We try to stop at 2:30, but I feel like we even got to the comments a little early today, and we still went long. So I don't know what the fuck we're doing wrong.
We're just long-winded, and I think we need to own it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I have to own that shit. I can't hide. Yeah. If there's anybody that cannot hide from being long-winded, it's this guy.
I'm pretty long-winded myself, but thank you guys for hanging out.
Thanks, man. I always appreciate you guys stopping in, comments.
Yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same place.
Same bad time, same bad
And
time.
there's something I want to start doing, because especially when we start bringing guests on, I want to have a little section for them. What do you got going on? What did you upload this week? What are you working on? What should people know about Jeremy Sires this week?
This past week, I uploaded the coffee thing, which a lot of people commented on. We did a coffee blind taste test to see if there's really a difference between pour over and drip, which interesting video, by the way. It was very difficult. A lot of people brought up the fact that I won't get into it because of the video, but
go watch it. It's a good watch.
The drip pot we use though, man, I might redo it at some point with like a standard drip pot.
Like a Mr. Coffee.
Right, because I mean, dude, that drip pot is next level for as far as drip goes. But nevertheless,
you got the Breville, I got the Bonavita.
So good. I'm working on the Pravada Cigar Club bundle that I put together with Brian. I'm working on that video. That will probably be the next video that drops. It should come out this week. And I just dropped, I don't know if they're out yet. It'll be this week, the new shirts. A lot of people asked me in the last video, I had that shirt that says, I like whiskey, cigars, and like 3 people. That should be on the website this week. So that's what's going on this week.
And I, earlier this week, uploaded at long last, after 2 years of people begging me, I uploaded a bag dump finally, which has done really well. People seem to really like that.
I need to go out and watch that one.
Yeah, so people seem to like that a lot. I have a video that I explained earlier. It took me about a month to finish about my old camping trailer, the RV that I bought to renovate. And it's just watch that video for an update on that. And then this week, finally, I'm also going to do a state of the collection for my watches, because I've been... A lot of people have been asking about that, because I've got
a lot of people have been asking me that too, and I have like 4 watches. So like,
see, I've got a few more than that.
So. Right. So people keep saying, Jeremy, can we get a watch collection vid? And I'm like, not yet, because I don't have enough. It would be an interesting video, right? There's also a little funny story to mine, because I first shot a watch collection video when the pandemic hit. And by the time I got around to editing it, so what happened is we were doing lockdowns and nobody was really sure what was going to happen. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to come into my office. So I shot like 9 videos, and it took me a month or so to edit through all of them. And by the time I got to the watch collection, it had completely changed, like almost entirely. So
I scrapped that video, and now I'm gonna make a watch collection. This is my third attempt.
After I get up to 5 good watches, I'll do one. But for right now, I have 4. One of which is just an antique that was given to me. It was my father-in-law's watch that was given to me after he passed away. So it's more a sentimental watch than it is like anything else.
I have 5 right here that I'm very proud of.
Right. I'm waiting until I got 5 good ones that I'm excited to talk about and like, all that stuff.
So here's a little sneak peek. Got a Marathon T-SAR, Damasco DC58, Laurier, Neptune, the old Oris, and that Christopher Ward. So I've got more than that, obviously. I want to give it all away, but yeah, I think it's finally time to settle in and do that watch collection video.
You got to, man. People like the watch collection videos. I'm working. I need to do another office tour video. That's going to be something hopefully I get out for the end of the year.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me for almost 3 hours, Jeremy.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me and putting up with me, Taylor, and my rambling and
it's
nonsensical.
It's a chore every week. I'm not gonna lie. But I wouldn't want to do anything else on my Wednesday nights.
That's it, man. We have a good time. I enjoy these things. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. We have fun doing them.
Yeah. So I think that's it for now. We'll see you next week around the same time.
All right.
Unfortunately, I still don't have a way to end these, so that's just going to be it.
In the words of Matthew McConaughey. All right. Patina. 3 more for you fuckers. Drink up.
See you guys.